You can support this show at patreon.com/ASA podcasting.
She was killed by a dead cow corpse.
The wasteland is a post-apocalyptic mess as the sole survivor wanders out about to see the rest. Nuclear explosions sending out the gamma rays from deep within the core, frozen atomic waves. From deep within the core, frozen atomic waves.
Hello and welcome to the 419th edition of the Fallout Feed. We are the show who compares and contrasts Fallout experiences through a lively roundtable discussion by playing through the same quest with characters who have been randomly assigned drastically different attributes. Welcome, everybody. Tonight, I am joined by a flock of my favorite Fallout folks. We have Jess. What's up, Jess?
Hey, Andrew. Greets, everybody.
Also, Ray. What's going on, Ray?
Hello, hello.
And we are also joined this evening for our feedback episode by play-along participant Jeff. Hey, Jeff. Welcome to the show, sir.
Hey, happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Been a bit since Jeff's been on, but he has been on a while back, last year sometime, so I figured we'd bring Jeff back on and do a little catch-up session, see how he's been doing over there in Fahaba. So, welcome back, sir.
Thank you.
We'll get into our gameplay as usual off the top of the show tonight, and we've got some shout-outs we will squeeze in there. We've got a lot of feedback. Tonight, we've got listener Craig, Cannibal Craig. If everyone remembers, he and his gaming group have been playing the Fallout Tabletop game, and he was sending some feedback a while ago, and he'd just like to continue on with their adventures there. We've also got Suliore, also Clint, the Green Dragon, Lee, Swearl, Blaze, Katherine, and Jeff, who's on the show, also sending some feedback. Yeah. So double dip at Jeff, everybody. Tonight, our game time will include a Scream at Your List phone, or a Scream at Your Phone list. What did I just say? Scream at Your List phone? A Scream at Your Phone list, which I'm calling a diseased ridden scream list. And we've got a little bit of a lot of iguana bits, it looks like, to get into. What'd you do, Jess? Did you listen
I basically just took notes as I was listening to Todd talk, like I often do. You know, some people don't listen when their dad talks, but I do, you know.
when Dad gets a hold of
it was Father's Day, wasn't it?
Thanks, Todd. So, yeah, we got a little bit of iguana bits to get into there, and some shouts on the way out the door again, probably. So let's go ahead and roll into it. Hey, Ray, did you get a chance to play any Fallout this week?
I have played a little Fallout this week. I also played some other stuff, too. I am frustratingly doing the No Man's Sky Expedition 10 on my Xbox.
Oh, no.
That game runs progressively worse on my Xbox every time I play it. It's I've got multiplayer turned off to try to help, but sometimes it's like a vacation slideshow.
Well, shit, you need to get a Switch then, so you can just like have 3 different levels of you got your Ferrari with your PC, then the Cadillac with your Xbox, and then the Volkswagen with the Switch, right? You get all 3. There's the
I think the Xbox is the
is it the Volkswagen now?
That is that's the lowest form I'm capable of tolerating.
Oh yeah. How is the Switch? I've only heard, I think Sherry been playing on the Switch too, right?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Functionality.
A few of our friends like it,
yeah.
Right? I thought you had one.
No,
not you, Ray, but no, Andrew. I thought Andrew or Mo had one.
But I haven't purchased No Man's Sky again for.
The No Man's Sky version on Switch specifically. Okay.
Yeah.
So how's the Xbox Adventures No Man's Sky going there? Right? Doesn't sound like too promising.
Well, it's mostly just frustrating. It's fine, and I know what I'm doing because I've already done the expedition a couple of times on PC. But just trying to choke through the incredibly slow frame rate.
I was just gonna say, is it slow load screens? It looks like frame rate.
Load screens are excruciatingly slow. But hey, I want the goodies, and so I'll bear with it. I'll get it done. Damn it!
You sound like me. You sound like me with the scoreboard. I want the stuff, but I'll never play it after. With the, you don't sound like you spend a ton of time on the Xbox when you don't have a purposeful play session in mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that'd be zero.
It's not like you're gonna relax and kick back on the couch and play some No Man's Sky on the old Xbox.
No. But yeah, Lee points out a very true fact in chat. I cannot walk straight when I'm trying to use a controller. So that's always a strange and unusual adventure. But also been playing around with Skyrim Roundtable stuff. I started a character that is worshiping Sithis.
Hail Sithis!
So I'll hit on that on the next episode of Skyrim Addict.
I forget who Sithis is. Which one was Sithis?
He's the one that you spend a lot of time with in the Dark Brotherhood.
Oh, right. Yes. Very nice.
So, yeah.
Too many gods.
There's some incredibly interesting mechanics involved with the Winter Sun mod and Sithis, so I had to try it out.
Sweet. All right, everyone tune into a Skyrim Addict podcast for the furthering adventures of Ray and Sithis.
And my goal in Fallout 4 was to make Curie mayor of Kingsport Lighthouse.
Okay.
So she was my romance. So I was doing everything I could to hurry that process along. Doing a lot of nice things, saying nice things to people, doing nice things for people, and got Curie's affinity up to get the romance completed, and then we went back to the Commonwealth, and she's now running the Kingsport Lighthouse settlement.
Nice. Is that so? Just a bunch of synths
with the
walking around?
Sim settlement. So she directs everybody to build certain things in certain places,
and she's in synth form now, right? Not robot
Correct.
form.
Oh yeah, no. In order to get her to max affinity, she has to be a synth.
So do you have is it like a synth refuge now on the mainland? Or can you direct it towards that where no humans allowed, just only robot people?
No, I've got Sunshine Tidings is my all robot settlement.
I was being facetious.
But there's no way to control the settlers that show up when you fire up a settlement beacon.
I think you have to split their head open to see if they're a synth, Ray.
Yeah, I guess I could just continually kill everybody that came there.
See if they have the component.
But that might get a little counterproductive.
It would be a perfect world.
So we did end up one of the Randolph Safe House quests for the railroad was at the day spa. So she and I ran over there and had a spa day.
That sounds nice.
Yeah, very nice. We went and met the children of Adam. That was fun.
Oh, at the submarine. I was going to say, you just did the Kingsport Lighthouse, so you should be well acquainted with them.
Yeah, no, there's a wall between us and them.
Why is there no relationship there? Because I'll get into it in my gameplay, but I was hoping that since I had just joined the Children of Adam and on Far Harbor, that they wouldn't be immediately hostile to me when I walked in the area. You know what I mean? But they pull the trigger immediately.
Yeah, they do. So we did. It was, we did the Dalton quests. The lighthouse there was a little bit tricky because I have a I have a hard time closing the distance on ballistic enemies. And so there's a house across the creek. And if you, if you've got a sniper rifle, you can plink the trappers that are over there, and then they'll come run over to the house. So I would get them to run into the house. And then when they came upstairs to try to get to me, I would cut them down with my ripper.
Attaboy.
And so that worked out pretty good. It made it hard to get down the stairs afterwards, but
got to kick the bodies out of the way.
Yeah. But it was successful there. The fog crawler was pretty easy because I just swam up to it, snuck out of the water and cut it down with the ripper.
That ripper is something fierce, man.
Oh, it's crazy powerful now.
Is it just all the melee perks that you have for
the melee perks
or
plus,
what is it?
upgrading the motor. It's I got the one from the lumberyard that has stagger on it now.
You need, is it called blacksmith for the unarmed and melee weapon improvements? Do you have blacksmith and all that maxed out? And that's how
I don't. I should probably look at that, but I've been trying to to get to nuclear physicist because one of my assigned perks is pain train, and the only way for pain train to work is to be in power armor.
And you want your fusion cores to last more than 8 minutes, so
yeah.
You can't carry that many in survival mode either. It's like the weight adds up on them so fast.
Yeah, they weigh like 80 pounds a piece. Yeah.
So we're slowly but surely getting there. I think I had to add an additional 3 in intelligence to get that there.
Oh, wow.
Because I had my other assigned perk was science. So I had to raise it 3 levels to get to science plus the bobblehead. So I raised it 3 more. So most of my perks have been invested in skill training, just to try to get to all the different assigned perks that I had.
Yeah. I was thinking about the intro when Andrew was doing that today, and we're talking about randomly assigned drastically different attributes, which is always the goal of the round table. But once the character levels up enough, like we can all be, you get that special filled out, you get that perks filled up, and they kind of get to that, ultimate build. It takes a while to get there, but like Andrew, this playthrough is almost there. Andrew, aren't your specials probably almost maxed at this point, if not maxed?
Not my specials, no. Of course, I'm sitting on a bank of like 10 to 12 unused ones just because I'm always like,
Wait, really?
I don't know if I want to use this because I might want to use that one next. Like, I bet I'll just sit on them until I figure out what direction I want to go.
When someone has too many levels is when they sit on them. Like you get used to that in 76, but in 4, I can't even imagine. But yeah, I'm putting it up because of the disparity. Ray, you're like 36, right?
Yeah. Oh no, I hit 37.
37. My girlfriend sucked 37 dicks.
In a row?
Hey, try not to suck any dick on the way through the parking lot.
This afternoon.
37.
Attaboy. In a row?
And Andrew?
82, 83, something like that.
Holy shit.
Yeah, more than double. So just saying there's a little bit of disparity here that happens over time.
I'm at 50.
I'm
Just
at
hit 50
43.
today.
Yeah, I think 43 or 44 here.
Spamming that idiot savant really perks you up, you guys.
Yeah. So, I mean, Kiri's nice and all, but I'm not going to miss her.
But your accent is so cute.
I blew through all of my stim packs, having Kiri as a companion, because she would continuously walk into my ripper.
Really?
Oh,
yeah,
constantly. Because you know how they always want to be like right in front of you.
That's what.
Yep.
Well, when I'm faced with a bunch of enemies, I just stand in one place because I've got
You're ripping.
rooted,
Yeah.
and just hold down the trigger and just spin around, chopping everything to bits. And she comes running in, and next thing you know, she's down on a
Let her
knee.
rip. Oh no.
That's just what.
That's. I am enjoying having Kiri, but she needs a human body bad in my playthrough. But making her sound like Lydia like that, I'm like, oh no, that's not good. I guess I hopefully I'll get a point or two in inspirational by then, because inspirational is the perk where your companions don't damage you and then you don't damage them after you get a couple stars.
Yeah, I don't remember where we were. We were someplace running around on the island, and I'm standing there, getting attacked by a super mutant. Might have been at the day spa. And the mutant goes down, and all of a sudden I see blood spraying everywhere. And I turn around and look, and Kiri's down on the ground. So it definitely cost me a lot of stim packs having her with me.
And stims are precious in survival. They really are.
But before that, I had to keep offloading stim packs into my workshops because there were too much carry weight.
They are heavy. I try not to have more than 12 or 13 at a time. In chat, Jason mentions, by the way, that's what dog meat is for the fusion cores. If you are using power armor, just dog meat loves carrying fusion cores.
Yeah, well, it'd be easy enough to find dog meat because he's standing out in front of the red rocket waiting for somebody to talk to him.
Poor guy.
All he wants is a friend. You should introduce him to Preston, but then you might have to talk to Preston.
Yeah, I'd have to go in the museum because, Preston's still trapped upstairs with all the raiders around him. Because I haven't been there either. Yeah, fortunately, if you do the railroad quest line, like I talked about last week, you can get to where you can get Kiri a body.
Right.
Without having to do the main quest line and do Kellogg.
I'm one quest away on both. For Kellogg, I've found Fort Hagen, so I should be able to, go in there and do it at some point. And with Railroad, I am 2 or 3 quests in, so I'm at the point where I'm doing what's it called too. I forget the name of it, but yeah.
Yeah, Butcher's Bill.
Yeah, Butcher's Bill. But then I have to go back to the mainland, which I've been living on Far Harbor the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. So, but you're just spending unnecessary time with Kiri. By not getting her body because her affinity won't progress. Yeah.
I feel like maybe the affinity will go. Are you sure that I know it's capped? Will it not even go up at all?
I don't believe so.
Oh,
I think it locks out and you can't get any higher until you get her a body.
See,
and
I
then
have
it'll go the rest of the way.
The mod that shows percentage, and I've noticed that some percentages go up, but I guess maybe for her they haven't. Oddly, here's something very odd. When I was playing the other day, I know we're in the middle of your gameplay, but something happened and I loaded in and it showed Preston and Deacons and Pipers, like all my companions' affinity went up by like 3%. I'm like, what happened to cause this out of nowhere? And I wonder if it was something that I triggered on Far Harbor that they have a built-in react to whether or not they're with you. Although that was interesting.
Everyone liked that.
Everyone liked that for real, yeah.
Very cool. What else are you getting into, Ray?
What else did we do? We did the quest for what's her name? Chase?
Yeah.
Oh, at Acadia?
And So that wasn't too bad. I just, I followed the blood trail to the house and walked through the front door with the Ripper running and just chopped them all to pieces.
You didn't wait for them to toss you a head.
No. So, yeah, there was no talking to the cannibals.
Do you think synth meat has like a lab, like grown in a lab type flavor versus, purist cannibals who, feast on real humans? Like, do you think synths have like a little plasticky taste or something?
Well, my character is a cannibal and he don't taste any different.
You guys, it's so funny. So like this cannibal thing came in. I did Chase's quest too. And this actually came up during stream. People started talking, well, what about synth meat? Would it be healthy? Would it be different? And I mentioned that I had seen an article this month and just last week where a couple of different companies just got USDA approval for lab grown meat. So they are currently ramping up. They're going to be doing public offerings soon. Upside Foods and Good Meat are the name of the companies, and they were approved by the FDA last week. Let's see, none of them are publicly traded yet, but some of their stuff is available through companies like Tyson Foods. So lab-grown meat may be a thing sooner than you think. And I feel like the synths would kind of probably be like lab-grown meat, right? But also think about this.
Yeah.
If they're all cultured from original genetic stock from your son, aka father, would you be like eating your kid?
Your son, yeah.
It's just, it kind of boggles a little bit.
Yeah. Well, and half your DNA is in there too.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
You're eating yourself.
It's an odd thought, but
quit eating yourself. Quit eating yourself.
I'm delicious.
But to be fair, I mean, I think the actual genetics of that is that they only, take some of the cells and stuff like that. Like it's not technically related. But I thought it was really neat.
Well, is
that actually maybe a thing soon.
Is long pig one of their flavor profiles?
Hopefully not, but who knows?
Ew, gross.
Yeah. I mean, there's a discernible difference between grain-fed and grass-fed beef. So it, they should still be a product of their environment. So, if they're eating nothing but cram, they're not going to taste too much different than a raider, I don't think.
Greasy. I think that we're working right now, guys. We're just sort of inadvertently writing a mod side quest here where we can have a cannibal who can lick someone's arm to tell if they're a synth or
a synth
human.
or not.
Yeah,
Ooh,
exactly.
Sounds like a good idea.
They make big money at Covenant.
Cool.
Yeah, they'll be hiring him right away.
Getting anything else over there on Fahaba?
What else did I do? I got the tools for the Mariner.
Nice.
Oh, so when you get the tools, as you're exiting the building, you're beset by a young man named Machete Mike.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, as I got close to the door to exit, I stopped to look and see, what my inventory situation was. And as I'm crouched there by the door, I hear a commotion on the other side of the door and a bunch of ghouls and, somebody, making a lot of grunting noises and everything. And when I got done and opened up the door, there were a couple of ghouls standing there. I mowed them down. And who would be laying on the ground in front of me but Machete Mike?
Was he dead?
Oh,
he was
Mike.
dead.
You let him fight the ghouls too long without helping? Oh.
I know, but you know what? He had 3,260 some caps on his corpse.
Well, he's got to buy. He's got to buy the Mariner's tools off of you.
Right, he was going to buy the tools off me. So,
well, now you get to have both.
Yeah. No,
Nice.
in the spirit of transparency, I always kill him anyway.
Of course you do.
Of course.
Okay.
But the ghouls did it for me this time.
It's funny. I heard about that as an option. I ran into him too, and Suliore mentioned ahead of time, don't kill him. And people were worried I did, but I didn't. I was using a shotgun, no, I was using my pistol. I just hit the ghouls, but I lit them on fire. So people were worried he was on fire. He wasn't. But I guess if he dies or you kill him, it can make the Mariner very upset. So in your case, have you gone back to her and talked to her? And is she upset yet?
Well, maybe that's why she's not talking to me anymore.
Oh no. Okay, maybe.
There was a lot going on, and I couldn't really hear her dialogue very well. Because I might have had the music playing, and watching a YouTube video at the same time.
That happens.
And so, yeah. I don't know. Maybe that's why she won't give me any more quests, but I don't care.
I went and got the Mariner's tools, and I didn't even hear him this time, so I guess the ghouls got him in my game too. What is his deal? Why does he want the Mariner's tools? Just because he wants some tools, or what?
So he and his buddy, since I feel like a lot of people might have killed him without actually talking to him, I'll explain. So he and his buddy were looking for these tools, and they had a line, they were there. And when he finds out that you heard about them and you were looking for the Mariner, he's mad because his buddy must have let the word slip that there were some great power tools up here. So they are Pellman's tools. And he's offering you 2,000 caps for those tools. He's like, Mariner's great and all, but we wanted those tools. I'll offer you 2,000 caps right here. If you have a speech check with him, you can get 2750. So it's a lot of caps.
Nice.
I mean, that is a lot of caps. But yeah, it'll make her unhappy because you're not getting her tool she's asking for.
How does that play out when you go back to the Harborman? I mean, she'll get mad at you, but are there any actual repercussions for that?
Yeah, you would fail the entire Hull Breach quest line. So her multiple quests that she has for the Hull specifically, that's going to end there, and you're not going to get the harpoon gun or the Mariner's support in the final reckoning about Harborman.
That's a big loss there for not getting a harpoon gun.
Well, yeah, but we all know the Mariner is, the most eligible bachelorette on Far Harbor. So,
do we?
Do you remember that we were talking? I mean, I call her Wasteland Velma because I feel like a lot of the guys who play Fallout have a thing for the Mariner. It seems to be a thing.
Do a lot of guys have a thing for Velma?
Yeah, well,
I thought Daphne was
Velma
supposed to be the
Daphne.
hot one.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. That's interesting because, Daphne's supposed to be the hot one, right?
Supposed to be.
People like the nerdy girl.
I hang out with nerdy guys. What can I say?
Jinkies.
Oh boy.
Getting anything else, Ray?
No, that was about it.
Sounds good. How about you, Jess? What are you getting into this week?
Well, got into a bit of Fallout for sure. So I played some Fallout 76. Of course, we did have the update last week. Had the update on Tuesday. And so I had to check everything out. It's we got new events and locations. So I haven't done obviously everything yet. It's been a busy week, but I did get in on Tuesday on PlayStation and went with some of my friends. We checked out the Middle Mountain Cabins, the new location there for the location that the Blue Ridge have set up. They've added a couple new buildings, big old stockade fence, a couple NPCs there. I think her name's Vera. And I'm forgetting the guy in the Booze and Brahmin, but have any of you checked out the Booze and Brahmin yet?
The Booze and Brahmin?
That's the bar there. That's the bar at the new location.
Oh, that's a great name for a bar.
It's really cute. It has a Brahmin mounted up there, and it's got hats. Like one of them's wearing I think it's more of a top hat kind of deal, and the other one has like a beer hat, but it's got like a cocktail glass in it. It's awesome. Anyway, the Booze and Brahmin, and also all the Brahmin there have names that the Caravan Brahmin have there. So who do they have? They've got a Vicky and Vance, which I thought was a great New Vegas reference.
Nice.
I'm forgetting the others, but yeah, if you're there,
Clarabelle.
If you're there before the actual event, because the events are Safe and Sound and Beast of Burden. Okay. And one happens at what was Middle Mountain Cabins, that's now a Blue Ridge Caravan location. And basically, they want you to help kind of fortify things because they're under attack. They need to defend the generator through 4 waves. So it's kind of a classic, defend a location, multiple waves coming in. The final wave, you're going to get the Blue Devil. This is the Blue Devil event. So it is tougher than I expected. I mean, it's not tough, But while the first couple waves are relatively easy, you're still getting your classic middle mountain enemies like rad scorpions and honeybees, like you were. But you also get more wolves and stuff. But as it goes on, you get floaters and a whole bunch of creatures showing up at once. And the final round's Blue Devil. I definitely found that that you want a squad. I don't think it's something that most people will be able to solo unless you're really effective, and can kind of like stealth on top of the generator and and stealth one hit kill everything coming at you, or the most of the things coming at you. For me, with a crew of 4 of us on PlayStation, keep in mind my character's only level 17 over there. We failed the event, which was a surprise. We were fine for the first 2. But once they started coming, we didn't expect it to be quite as tough as it was either. So a lot of us were on our builds, as opposed to fighting builds.
Whoops.
But it happens. But yeah, that's a fun event. I love the location. Like I said, NPCs, new buildings. Then the other one is Beast of Burden, and it's over in the, it's actually in the bog. The new location is called, I think, Sacramental Forest, something like that. Sacramental Grove, maybe. And it's a Mothman cultist location. And that's the one where some of the items were stolen from Luca.
I live on the 2nd floor.
Luca Costa, right? Vinny Costa's nephew. Luca Costa, he lost some explosives. So the cultists have explosives, and you got to fight them, and that's multi-ways too. And those cultists are fun. Great location. It's got candles. It's really cool. So I like both these locations. And then the other big thing that I mentioned before, when you guys do go in, and you can take your time with them, but it's the Costa Business Dailies, they're called. And basically, they're not like some dailies. It's not time limited where you have to do it like log in multiple days in a row. There are 7 of them total. Actually, I guess 8 because there's a special one. And every time you go in and talk to him, you get a quest for that day. But then if it takes you a couple weeks to go in and get a second quest, it'll be there when you go. It's basically a 7 or 8 quest chain.
That's nice.
And it's kind of a getting to know the Blue Ridge Caravan thing. It's the closest we're going to get to story with with this update. You know what I mean? Because you're meeting all the people in the Blue Ridge Caravan. You're learning more about Vinny. Oh, he's smoking now. He's not just drinking coffee. He traded one vice for another. So now he's smoking. He's swapping out what he's doing.
Nice.
He got even more gangster. Like talking to Vinny, he's really kind of going the mafia route a bit.
Every mafioso likes a good cup of Joe,
But yeah, it's fun. It's a good quest line. I've only done the first 2 so far, and there are a bunch more to go. So plus, I can do them on all the systems, so I'll probably revisit them multiple times. It's just a fun little thing to do. So people looking for story or something to do, you just check out that quest line. They're dailies, and you can only do them once. Per character, you're only going to do these 7 quests one time.
Oh, I see.
Just like any other main quest. Yep.
Okay.
So they call them dailies because they're small, and you can only do 1 per day. But it's a quest line and that they're not repeatable.
Oh, so you can't knock them all out in one long play session or something. Okay,
Yep.
I see.
I think it's kind of a good idea. Kind of like in the way that the Beaver Titan, that fight with the Beaver Titan like going underground and popping back up, like it makes the fight last longer. So many people, when they give us quests in 76, let's be honest. I mean, unless you put it off and haven't even done Steel Rain yet, like some people. But like most people...
Hush. Who are you talking to? Come on.
I have no idea who I'm talking about.
Yeah, the 3 of us.
Most people get
Yeah.
a new quest line in the game, and they're like, oh, I'm going to do that. And they spend the next 3 to 5 hours of their play doing the new storyline that Bethesda worked on for 6 to 12 months. And now they're done. They're like, how come there's no content in this game?
No content.
So Bethesda
Plowed
catching
through it.
on, and they're saying we're gonna dribs and drabs. We're gonna stretch it out. So, I mean, they're just silly fetch quests. They're just kind of texture, but you get a cool item for everyone. I mean, they're not just fetch. There's a little more to them than that. There's conversation. But yeah, I like it. I think it's a good way to kind of make things lasting and people something to do.
They just need Night Mother style Radiant quests, right?
Yeah, that would help possibly. It's funny. I mean, some of the things they add are more like that. I'm technically like the photograph quest, stuff like that are Radiant quests. The going to see Ward and retrieving his osmosis kit or things from various raiders. Those are essentially Radiant quests because the raiders are in different locations every time. They're so dumb though. Let's be honest. That quest is dumb. Says the girl who's trying to max her reputation.
Well, you're giving me shit about not finishing the stupid Brotherhood quest line, and you haven't even got your reputation for the Raiders or the Settlers up yet. Come on, Jess.
I have maxed my Raider reputation like, what was it, 4 months ago?
Good job. Only a year and a half after me. Come on.
Yeah, it's true. Well, I mean, you are better at grinding and I'm better at story, maybe.
You also care about the Brotherhood.
It's true. It's true. I do a little bit.
At
least one of them in particular.
I wrote them off in one game, so now I'm like, every game they suck. No, I don't even give them a chance. I'm a jerk.
But that's the stuff with the new stuff. I mean, there's a lot of little things. There are new rewards. Keep in mind that these new events here, they each have their own reward list. So just like with the Nuka World events, there are different lists of things that drop from them. So we are getting new items. Some of them are really cool. There's a lot of really cool stuff added with this quest.
Yeah.
And they did do the thing where they are, they did reduce the stamp cost on a lot of items. They made it so you don't have to make stew to do your expeditions. Like all that stuff did happen.
Yeah, I saw that you don't have to like do 3 prerequisites before they'll even let you on the chopper anymore. That sort of stuff. That's good.
All right.
That was annoying as fuck.
It's a great preparation for adding more to the expedition system because they want people to actually go. You know.
Yeah, and I heard you speak of a new expedition location or something in the future, right?
Yeah, that's like we were talking last week with the going to Atlantic City.
Atlantic City, that's right. I'd forgotten where that was.
And we don't know everything about it, but it looks like there's going to be multiple NPCs there. It will be a larger location with, some story and actual life, as opposed to the pit that has 3 to 5 generic people and then 2 named people in each location.
Yeah, cool.
Besides that, I was also in 76 doing some camp tours on Thursday. It's a fun one. I just want to call it out because we did see some camps from Dom Quantum and Scullyface, and we played a fun game. Dom did a game he called the Plushy Plunge, and essentially it was floating a bunch of. What'd you say, Andrew?
I just said Plushy Plunge. That's a good name.
Plushy Plunge. It is a kind of platforming challenge. We got to jump from platform onto plushies across a chasm. It's way harder than it sounds. My entire crew failed miserably, but it was a lot of fun. I love seeing people making their own fun and making their own games and games still. Like we've seen a bunch of the game shows and stuff we've done, but this was the first new one I've seen in a while, and I really enjoyed it.
Well, that's good. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Glad people are still getting creative in there.
Exactly. So yeah, and I've seen all the rewards. Oh yeah. So my friend Rux also, Adam's for eating a hole in his pocket on PC. I've actually got friends on every system who have bought the whole board. So
Yikes. They
bought the whole board on a system, and on PC on Thursday, I got to see them all. And man, the camp items in this one, I was excited about fans and typewriters, but this theater stuff is so swank.
Theater stuff. I haven't even looked at the board at all.
The theme is Shoot for the Stars. I know we didn't go over it this time because we used to. You guys aren't quite as needing everything. You'll see when we get there. It's all good. But yeah, the theme is Shoot for the Stars. It's all movie themed, and there's marquee stuff and special seats, director's chairs, stage lights, a really cool shelter that's built like a theater. VIP velvet ropes. You can be exclusive, Andrew.
Rope it off. Nice. Only VIP is allowed. Can you sort of recreate the top floor of the Hubris comics from Fallout 4? Do they have that tricolored you know what I'm talking about? The lights that are like the 3-colored light. I love that for some reason.
You could technically wire that up. You could wire that up yourself with the cycling lights and power.
Nice.
Yeah, I hadn't really ever thought about that, but you totally could. For theater productions, like with Wasteland Theater Co., when they've done lighting, a lot of times, get separate things circuited and such. With this and the theater shelter, the way it is right now, it has house lights and stage lights. So it does have separate lighting built in, but no colors.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be neat.
So that's it for 76. Then Fallout 4, continuing side quests. Didn't play a ton this week, just on stream Wednesday, and my stream only lasted about 2.5 hours. I didn't do my usual, I've been doing 4 hours lately.
Yo.
But I know. Well, I logged in and I said, let's do some of the side quests. So I did essentially what Ray was talking about too, and what I imagine a lot of our feedbackers are doing, because we finished all the Acadia talking. So I'm like, okay, I'll help Chase. I'll help Faraday for the Acadia crew. I'll help the Mariner. I'll help Cassie Dalton, for the Harborman crew. So for Cassie Dalton's, essentially, you're going up to Dalton Farm and you're killing the fog crawler. So, I made my way there. Wasn't too hard.
That's like her third quest. She's got like 12 things she needs you to do. I kept going back to her and being like, all right, now give me the farm. And she's like, but wait. There's this other group of people who killed some other family member. You need to go deal with them.
I think there are only like 4 stages total.
I think it was
yeah.
3.
Yeah, it only goes on so long.
The last one was a bitch though, but
yeah, that's the trappers. So I haven't done that one yet, but I did the others, and they're not that bad. I love the idea that you're kind of getting this like gothic horror family story. I mean, it's just like saying my great uncle this had this happen and blah blah blah. Like it's just fantastic hearing like the horror of her family tree and avenging them. It's very Stephen King.
Bad luck for this lady.
Mm-hmm. So I made my way up there, fighting things on the way, just exploring a bit, doing everything on foot in survival is fun. Just, wandering around, discovering the island. I did find the green Vim power armor on the way, which,
nice.
Man, it looks cool in the fog. I love that.
It's pretty sweet, right?
Also, I am crashing occasionally. That is the other thing I'm running into. I don't know if it's because of the fog, because of other mods. It's not bad. But during the stream, I crashed 3 times in like 2.5 hours. So
no.
more than I like. Mm-hmm. But as long as you save not too far back, it's not bad. So I got lucky there. But yeah, got there, and the fog crawler was actually nothing. He was easy to take care of. That surprised me.
Yeah, well, Ray hopped out of the water with a ripper. What are you doing?
For the fog crawler?
Yeah.
I actually used my laser because my main gun is deliver with 10mm because I'm doing an AP build. And I'm running through bullets because I only brought so many 10mm with me to Far Harbor. And I thought it'd be okay because, in the regular game, I can get back to a place where I can get more 10mm. It hasn't been quite like that on Far Harbor, quite the same. So yeah, I got down to like 15, 20 bullets, killing super mutants and ghouls and stuff on the way. So I switched to the laser, but I've got a fiery laser, so I just lit it up.
What is you said ammo is more of an issue on the island than the mainland?
It is, but I mean, mostly because I wasn't prepared for it. After I did complete the circuit, I went and I got all the bullets that were available from Alan.
Alan, does Brooks have any too?
I think Brooks might have some too. Like, I don't know how much, but yeah, I feel like I might have gotten all the ammo. They had 10mm from both. Yeah, and it depends on the ammo, and obviously some, enemies have ammo and such. But I've got plenty of microfusion cells, so the laser's working. And nowhere near as good as Deliverer. So took care of the fog crawler with lasers because I've got with me still, I've got Curie and I've got dog meat since I've got both of them, and they did fine. So I kept exploring the island. We went all around the north side, up by the aquarium, the oceanarium, and then down to the power tool section. Similar situation to Ray and all that. I really enjoy going through there, cleaning out the enemies and ghouls, getting the tools. I didn't light Machete Mike on fire, even though I thought I did for a minute. And he survived, and I said, no, sorry. And then we made our...
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and then we made our way back across the island, that's a long trip, because she sends you clear across, so it's fun. So on the way, you find the different locations, the national park headquarters, stuff like that. Those super mutants in the middle at the park headquarters were a real challenge. Yeah. But it was fun.
I also wandered into is it the Oceanographic Institute or something where has that one robot wandering around? Is there a bigger purpose to that area that I'm just not finding? Because it feels like there should be like a quest that sparks off there or something cool to find, or because it's a really neat sort of location, but it's just a robot floating around. I couldn't find anything, but there is one door I couldn't get into. Is there?
Which location in particular? Did you say the Oceanarium?
Is that what it's called? I don't know. I thought it was like the Oceanographic Institute or something.
There might be another. Around. You might be thinking 2 different locations.
I don't know.
The Oceanarium
is one by on the tip of oh shoot, what's the name of that? It's where Croup Manor is.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, that's a big one, and there is more story there with the Mirelurks and such.
Yeah.
God,
I thought I was on Far Harbor. I could be wrong.
But the Oceanarium is a real life location. I was telling people on stream that it was a place that all the kids would go as a kid for school field trips. You'd go down there sometimes, And so, like, I touched my first starfish at that oceanarium, met the sea urchins, like, all kinds of sea creatures. I learned a lot at that oceanarium. So I thought it was really cute that they had that on the actual island. And it's not that large in real life either. Like, the Boston Aquarium is so much larger and cooler, but it's just a cute little place.
Very cool.
Yeah. So anyway, that's pretty much it. Made my way back across. I turned stuff in with the Mariner, and I'm continuing her quest line, doing Cassie's quest line. I don't have that much affinity with Long Nut still. I have to do his stuff. Chase was happy about she wasn't happy about the synth, but I earned her trust. I managed to actually talk the cannibals down. Unlike Ray, I didn't go in guns blazing. And I just kind of let them be.
So they didn't eat the synth? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, no.
Oh, no. They ate the shit out of the synth.
I got ahead. Yeah. I arrived behind and left ahead. So it was, yeah. It's kind of a funny scene, the way that they did that.
I did that quest, too. There is no saving the synth, right?
No. Yeah, there's no way.
Okay.
It kind of teaches you about the trappers a bit, too. And, that's your first induction. And then, of course, you're going again for Cassie. So I was going to do Cassie Dalton's Mariner quest, and I was going to do Captain Avery's quest for restart of the purifiers, because I'd gone by them earlier. I'm like, that's a simple one, let's do all that stuff. But that's when I crashed the third time, and it was late. So I just said, I'm done for the night.
Take the hint.
Sometimes you gotta. Besides that, that's all my Fallout play this week. 3-4 nights of Fallout. Other than that, I played some Sea of Thieves last weekend. I played some Redfall.
Fun.
Still continuing with those. Still cool games.
Good deal.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard Baker and his kid might be doing a Sea of Thieves show, right? Did he mention that to you yet?
No, he was. Yeah, we talked about it a little bit last night.
Well, we'll put out a little bit of a pre-show promo here. They got their first episode recorded. I'm excited to hear what they've been doing. That sounds like fun. All right, Jess. Thanks so much for your gameplay there. How about you, Jeff? What have you been getting into this week?
Well, just like everybody else, playing a whole hell of a lot of Fallout 4.
Attaboy.
I besides the quests from last week's feedback, I was spending most of my time just cleaning stuff up on the mainland. I did the Here There Be Monsters quest.
Oh, is that the submarine?
The submarine one.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Did you get the guy's coat? I like that coat. So did you get the guy's outfit? I like that coat or whatever he's wearing.
I don't really remember. But I was doing what you guys just do. I was randomly swimming around, and I randomly ran into it. And I don't think I've ever done that quest before. So I ended up knocking that out. But like, he sent me to Saga's Ironworks, and I've been putting that off pretty much my whole gameplay since the beginning.
Tough.
Yeah,
area.
right. That can be tough on survival for sure.
But like at this point, I was probably level 45, so I'm like, I think I could handle it. So my sneak's very high, and I'm a pistols build. So just sneaking around, it was pretty easy to get through there. The final boss was a couple shots in the head, and he was down. The main guy was easy. The other guys were a little bit tough. I think I died a few times.
Yeah, I definitely reloaded a bunch in there just because I had to choose. Am I going to kill all his minions or him up there on the platform? Like it was just tough to get everyone in one round.
Yeah,
of that.
I think I did it a couple different times. Tried to figure out which was the best way to do it because, I would get all of them dead, but then it'd be like, oh, all right, well, Jake's dead.
Whoops.
So reload because. I got a quick save mod.
Whatever. Did you talk to Jake? He's not worth saving.
Yeah, I know. But I'm like, I might as well. But I did that. So it was, I had 2 quests taking me there. So I was like, might as well do it. So I got that done. So I ran over to the Finch farm, turned that one in, and I went back to the submarine. And I was streaming all this. And I go through the sub and take out all the ghouls, and I'm sneaking around and I'm not really paying attention, and I'm kind of paying attention to chat here and there, and I turn the corner, I'm like, oh, there's one more left, pull the trigger, and quest failed.
Whoops.
I accidentally shot Zeo in the back of his head.
Take his coat.
I do have an auto save that saves like every half hour or 45 minutes, and luckily it did do an auto save recently. So I was able to reload it and actually finish that quest the way it was supposed to be finished.
Oh, good.
Actually killing him.
Don't you get like a sword, Zao sword or something?
Yeah, you get some kind of fancy sword out of that. But that was the first time I've ever actually done that quest. So that was like we've all been playing this game for what, 8 years, and there's still stuff that I find. I'm like, oh
yeah.
But I did that. I did the Silver Shroud quest. That's always fun. Did all the Shroud dialogue.
Dressed up as the Shroud.
It's so funny. And then I tried. That was another boss that I had to reload about 3 or 4 times till I got it right, because you do it one way, Kent's dead. You do it another way, you're dead. I finally convinced them to like let Kent watch you kill me, and I was able to take him out easily. So I saved Kent, so I'll be able to get the the ballistic weave on the Silver Shroud outfit.
Nice. I haven't done that one in so long, but I heard people chatting about it a few weeks ago about how difficult it is to get through there with Kent surviving. I haven't done it on this this character yet.
Yeah, usually it's kind of hard, but you got that one the one dialogue option where you could just be like, hey, let Kent live and watch you kill him, and that's the easy way as long as you avoid shooting Kent in the crossfire. But it is pretty tough. But after that, I mean, I think 3 or 4 days ago, I finally made it actually in the Far Harbor and started knocking out some of those quests. The quest for Cassie, they were, like I said before, it was the mainland I can just destroy. I'm not having any trouble with anything. I'm sneaking around. My sneak is fully loaded, fully leveled up. So, it's been pretty easy on the mainland, but as soon as you went over to the island, I was just like, oh, this is a completely different game. Those trappers are no joke. I'm like, oh, these guys are just,
yeah,
they're gunners. Nope. They're tough.
They're tough gunners with lobster traps on their damn head.
I know. But that lighthouse battle, oh my God, I must have died 6, 7, 4, I don't know, a bunch of different times until I finally took that so damn slow. I'm running around I'm a pistols build, so I got a 10mm I've just been running around with. But I think it's instigating, so double damage.
Yeah.
Like it's double damage if it's full health, and then I got the 4 time or however the fully loaded sneak one where you get double damage or triple damage. And I also have Sandman. So basically, if I get the drop on someone, they're dropping with my pistol. And of course, I have it nicely named. The pistol's name is the Fallout feed.
Oh, great!
So you guys are just dropping people left and right with me.
We're everywhere, killing everyone.
But after doing Cassie's quest, I finally got in to talk to Dima, and I'm siding with Acadia. So, I mean, I've played before here, and I can't remember for the life of me anything,
that's good.
It's kind of nice. It's like playing a whole into the game.
Yeah.
But, so, since I'm siding with Acadia, I'm basically agreeing with everything Dima says, like, yes.
Oh, that's tough, because Dima's a big douchebag, so
it's
good on you.
Yeah, I know. It's my last time in the Fallout New Vegas roundtable, I was sided with the Caesar's Legion.
Oh Lord,
so
that's tough to play too, man.
That was fun to play. It was definitely out of my comfort zone, so that's what the roundtable's all about.
Absolutely,
it was a melee Caesar's Legion character, which is 2 complete opposite things of how I play. But this time around, I'm a pistols build. Kind of, I'm more of a rifles build, so pistols build is kind of nice.
Very cool. Yeah, I usually, and especially in Fallout 4, I'm usually a rifle guy too. But
you get Overseer's Guardian, and it just maxed that out, and it's game over. But
Very
that
cool.
I have Overseer's Guardian as just like that's my sniper rifle. That's, only under emergencies. I use that, mostly pistols though.
Sweet.
But, I went down, talked to what the hell, Kasumi or whatever her name is. Talked to her. We've all heard the story. Went back up and talked to Dima. And yeah, instead of hacking the terminal, instead of e-shopping, I'm siding with Acadia anyway, so I just went straight, talked to him. And my charisma's kind of about, I think it's at 6 or 7 right now. So I was able to pass the speech checks. And the one speech check was if this thing involves the whole island, you need my help, then I could be your problem solver if you let me in. And I figured that was the way to join Acadia.
There you go.
And he's like, I can't really refuse your help. So if you're willing to help, I'll take it. And that's when he convinces me, he tells me basically the whole story about his memories being stuck inside that, another submarine. How fitting.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
you got double dip of submarines.
yeah. And then, so he tells me, the story between Martin and with Tectus,
yeah.
and Nucleus, and he's like, I don't want you to kill anyone, but I need you to disguise yourself, infiltrate the children of Adam, and sneak in there, get my memories back before they find them.
Why doesn't Dima just make a synth and replace Tectus and be done with this whole thing, right? Wouldn't that solve all the issues on the island? Then we'll be all good.
Yeah, they just go in there and kill them, and that'll probably solve it too.
Yeah, that's
But
another
they
one.
say don't kill anyone. I'm like,
Yeah,
because
come on,
obviously
Dima.
the big bad. Let's kill everyone on you. I'm siding with Acadia, so I could just wipe the rest of the island out and game over.
Yeah, kill all the harbormen too, why don't you?
Especially Alan.
Oh, Lord. I need an Alan follower mod so I can pull some Lydia and accidentally push him off the cliff type accidents.
Oh God, he'd come back and be like, with some smart ass remark.
All
Yeah,
right.
as I was leaving Far Harbor Marina, I got the cut scene where they're all out front with a Children of Adam follower out there, and yeah, they do a really, really good job of making sure there are no good guys on Far Harbor.
They're hard to sympathize with.
Yeah.
No good guys on Far Harbor. Well, let's just let the fog in then. Let's let the fog consume them all.
Yeah, really.
Sounds like the best way.
But yeah, that's pretty much where I left off. Was
cool.
After talking to him, I haven't moved on anywhere. I kind of just been wandering around aimlessly and unlocking some locations.
Nice.
I still say that bowling alley is probably my favorite location. Might be in the whole game.
It's pretty cool. I haven't actually stepped in there yet.
I wish I could turn that into a settlement myself and live in there because this is a great place.
Get yourself that camping mod. Where
I do have that camping mod. Can you use that inside?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know about that. I always liked that sort of trailer park where you find the squirrel holotape, so I set up a camp there once. That was really fun.
I love it. I love the trailer park trailer park spots.
Yeah.
I tried building a trailer park in 76
trailer park
times.
boys.
It's a great build idea. I have friends who've done trailer parks there. It makes sense, and especially if they keep giving us things like the Stack Shack and the Philly flats or whatever they call them.
Yeah.
And it's fun using the shipping containers and trailers and everything all together.
Very cool. Mm-hmm. Hey Jeff, are you still playing 76 at all? Have you started the scoreboard and all that?
I have been on score retirement for about two seasons. I cleared every board since season 1 until about 2 seasons ago, and then I just kind of got burnt out on the game.
Lost your steam.
I did sign in since this new update. I signed in. I noticed the frame rate improvement, which is nice. I cleared my inventory and cleaned it up. And then I logged out and played Fallout 4 some more. So like,
attaboy.
I tried. I gave it an attempt. I looked around.
That's what we like to hear.
It's just 4 is just it's too hard to get away from. I don't have a ton of free time, so I'm like, all right, any time that I am able to have the Xbox running,
Good on ya.
pretty much dedicating to the 4.
Yeah.
Especially when you're in the middle of a playthrough. You know what I mean? Like when you're not currently playing a Fallout or Elder Scrolls game and you get that Bethesda itch, maybe 76 will scratch that itch too.
Well, I'm
It's
booked
great
till
to go
the end
back
of the
to for a
year,
while.
'cause with this and then Starfield after this.
Yeah.
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 Goodbye,
We're feeling that.
76. Right on. Anything else, Jeff, you want to mention?
No, I'm just I'm having a lot. Mostly all of my Far Harbor has been I've been streaming. I'm still very new at the streaming thing,
Sweet.
but I'm learning a lot about it and having a lot of fun doing it.
Great.
Like it's something I bought a bunch of equipment to try and start a podcast and didn't get very far with that. And I'm like, you know what? Here's another thing I could use this equipment for. So
There you go.
I'm just trying to have a good time doing something different, go to work, come home, play video games. Might as well, maybe
Make it
talk to some
useful.
people while I'm playing video games. It's kind of fun.
Well, if you'd like to follow along with Jeff's adventures, look up Still Falling 97 there on the YouTubes. Also, if you scroll down on your podcatcher that you're listening to this show on right now, you can see that link in our little collection of our play-along folks who are also streaming. We got some Twitch people, we got some YouTube people. So if you'd like to follow along with Jeff's adventures, Still Falling 97. Everyone go check it out.
Thank you.
Absolutely. For my gameplay, I decided that, oh man, I should go get this ballistic weave that everyone's talking about. I hear it's this hip new fashion mod. So I go over to the railroad and I read in an article, and Ray said, oh, you just got to do Pam like 2 times. And then, she offers it, and like someone says, hey, go talk to Tinker Tom. He's got this thing. It took fucking 6 damn of those. What are they called? What's that? I almost called it a D.
DIA cache?
The DIA cache. They took fucking 6 of them before it was offered to me. And like
Really?
I think there's only 3 of them.
Yeah, I usually get it on the 3rd.
Oh my God, it took forever. I kept like talking to her and then going back over to Tom, be like, are you sure you don't have something for me yet? And then they like, oh no, here's another one. Go take this out and go do them. And I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Were you maybe accidentally doing Mila in between or something?
No, because I kept telling Tom to fuck off if he didn't offer me the thing. I was doing the drop houses things. What's that? The drop spots. The Randolph house.
Dead drops.
The dead drops, right. Yeah. So I was doing those in between. But it just took forever. But I finally got Ballistic Weave, and I've got Armorer maxed out. So I put 4... or 5, whichever mark is the highest level of Ballistic Weave on there. But then I was playing, I was like, I didn't notice a huge... I expected to be like bullets bouncing off of me and just like being like Superman now. But it wasn't like that at all. I felt like I was taking similar damage and then I brought that up in our little chat, and then Ray brought up a point to me that I would like Ray to revisit here real quick. What were you telling me, Ray?
All right. So damage resistance in Fallout 4 is it's a formula that they use that you reduce the amount of damage taken as a ratio of your actual the damage that a weapon potentially could do and what your damage resistance is.
Yeah, I like to call it a curve with diminishing returns, basically. Like the higher your DR, the less benefit you get, right? Like it's just kind of a curve.
Well, not so much the less benefit you get. I mean, it's so if you're starting out and you've got the outfit that you get off of the the dead guy next to the dog on the other side of the bridge from Sanctuary.
Very beginning of the game.
Very beginning of the game. So now I think you've got a DR of 5.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
If if the weapon that's being used against you is doing 5 damage, then your outfit is not negating all of the damage from that weapon. You're essentially doing 50%.
Okay.
Now, if you get that, if you're getting shot by that same weapon, but now you've got 100% or 100 DR armor on, then that weapon is only doing 22% of its potential damage.
Okay, so it's the ratio. That's really different. I hadn't really looked at that before. That's neat.
So it's hard to calculate. And you just kind of gotta you gotta play it like you play it. You just whatever the most DR you can get is still going to give you
The best protection.
But you're never gonna get 100%. So even if you're in power armor, that you get from Sanctuary, and the guy that is shooting at you in Concord has a weapon that's doing 20 damage, you're still going to take 2 points of damage from that gun. So they're still going to be able to wear you down.
That's interesting. There's all sorts of this is basically a dice game in the background that we never see the dice rolling. You know what I mean? But for some reason I just assumed that, I've got Mark 5 ballistic weave on. Yeah, I'm not going to be but okay, so it still rolls a ratio of your DR against the max
weapon
possible
output.
damage of the weapon up. Okay, weird.
So what's your current DR?
So
Andrew?
Now we're going to throw another formula on top of that formula.
The difficulty formula with survival stuff? Oh, yeah.
The difficulty level.
Okay. Jeez. The survival mode, you're saying, right? Okay.
Yeah. So the higher the difficulty, of course, the more, the more damage that you're going to take. So that guy that was shooting you in power armor, that you were taking 2 shots of damage per shot.
Yeah.
Now he's going to be doing,
is it doubled? 8. That's quadrupled even. Okay.
Yeah.
Yikes.
So it's so the best rule of thumb is just get the most you can get and don't stand there and get shot.
Well, I'm doing a bunch of math in my head, Ray. I've got to do all these calculations against with their.
Oh gosh!
Well, so first off, you got to run over and check that guy's gun.
Yeah, I got to say, wait, can you stop shooting me for a second? I need to check your stats real quick, buddy.
The best DR is not be seen.
That's true
for sure.
Yeah, stealth.
Yeah, and that's why that's why stealth is so powerful in these games. Because then on top of that, now you're doing multiple times more. I mean, just if you've got no other perks, you're going to be doing double damage, if you get them on a sneak attack.
And if you got Sandman on top of that, thank God that I had saved right before that, because I accidentally hit the wrong button when Doc Carrington was asleep and I was trying to turn in one of his quests. And I did the Sandman kill move on him or whatever, and then the whole railroad underground aggroed on me, and everyone got pissed off. I'm like, God damn it. But I had just saved. Thank
you have to be careful.
Don't hit the wrong button and accidentally sleep kill people. All right. So I got the ballistic weave, did a bunch of railroad stuff. I ran around on the coastline a little bit, got to the Kingsport Lighthouse. I hadn't done that yet. But I'm already a member of the Children of Adam, and like I mentioned, I was hoping that they wouldn't attack me, but there's absolutely no relationship between the mainland children and the island children, it seems to me. Like, I was kind of hoping that they had written something in there where, like, oh, you're the new, the agent from the submarine. Okay, yes, we have heard about you, but no, there's absolutely no connection between the two.
Yeah. Well, and it's different, too, because if you go to the Glowing Sea and you meet those Children of Adam, they'll leave you alone.
They're not aggro. Yeah, you can sell stuff to them. Like, why? I don't get it.
It's just the ones at Crater Village that are hostile. Yeah, they're just all separate factions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
there's a schism. They're the Protestant version of the Children of Adam, you see, and then you've got the fundamentalists.
Right. So I did the lighthouse, and then I was like going next door, and there's like yet another, like just called it the Crater Village. Those people just killed me over and over and over. That was one of those things where I just reloaded 6 or 7 times to get in there.
They're tough. With that lighthouse there,
those gamma guns do like 1,000 radiation damage if you don't have any radiation resistance.
They're all ranged and they're spread out all over the place.
Yeah. Sneak up on you.
It's tough
out of nowhere.
Yeah, those guys and they did not accept. I was like, no, look, I'm a member, showing my ID card. Like, they didn't care.
Yeah.
And also, I thought was funny when I was down in the railroad. I haven't been to Good Neighbor yet, but Ray, you mentioned, and I wanted to bring this up because you just brought it up in this episode too. If you do enough railroad quests, then they will let you do Curie's memory den stuff, right?
Yeah.
I had what's the leader of the railroad? What's her name? Desdemona was brought up. The doctor in Good Neighbor's like, oh, and you've dealt with her before. No, I haven't. I don't know who that is. I've done Kellogg's quest up to getting his brain thing, but I haven't been to Good Neighbor yet. But she brought up by name the doctor, and who's the doctor? Good Neighbor? I forget. I'm terrible at names, you guys.
Dr. Amari.
Dr. Amari. She's like, oh, and then you need to see Dr. Amari. Oh, but you've seen her before. You're used, I was like, no, I have not. But it's weird that it's scripted in Desdemona's like dialogue.
There are a few places like that. I'm finding going through things a little bit differently order, doing survival and not progressing the main quest as much. I found a couple times where that's happened. That's definitely one.
Yeah. So I thought that was funny. That's weird. Oh, and Jesse, were mentioning the Affinity tracker mod, and I think I might look into that because I was talking about doing Longfellow's Affinity by drinking and sleeping and drinking and sleeping. And I was like, oh, I must be like half, 2/3 of the way based on his replies. And the more that I talk to him, the more that I find out that he wants me to drink 200 bottles of liquor or something like that, because I've probably done that 50 times maybe. And like the more I talk to him, and then I finally asked him, oh, how's our relationship, buddy? And he's just like, well, I don't hate you. So I'm like, oh, God. Oh, Lord, we're going to be drinking a lot of liquor over the next few nights, buddy. So, but seriously, like every time I will go out on adventures and collect as much liquor as I can. If I'm at a vendor, I will buy them out of all the wine and spirits that they have and bring them back home and just get a big build up until I'm over at Longfellow's cabin. And I mentioned I have him as a provisioner, but if I see him walking back to the cabin, which you do see him fairly frequently, then I will stop him and I'll dismiss cat meat to Longfellow's cabin, so he's right there where I can find him, and then I will recruit Longfellow and, do the bunch of drinking and sleeping, and then I will dismiss him and make him a provisioner again. But like it's taken a long ass time. So I actually looked up like the different things you can do to do his affinity, and he only like barely likes drinking. You look at this guy and he all talking a big game like he's a big drinker, but he just barely likes drinking at all, you guys. He's not a party man.
He just enjoys a nice sip in the evening. Nothing wrong with that. You don't need to get blitzed.
If you read his stuff, he loves it when you lie to robots. He just wants you to go to like that he wants you to lie to like Pearl and like make fun of Pearl and like go to that hotel thing.
That's so specific.
And if you're in the hotel, there's a bunch of dialogue things you can get that he'll love, but it's all like when you say things that are mean to all the robots in there. And if you say mean stuff to Dima, he likes that too. So it's just like he just hates robots, which, looking at the dude, that makes total sense. All the old people in my life hate technology too. So I mean, that makes perfect sense to me. Yeah. So I've been messing with him a little bit. I went and got Pikmin's. I did the whole Pikmin gallery thing when I was messing up down on the coast there, running around on the river. I hadn't been in Pikmin's yet, so I decided to get the bobblehead. So I ran down there and did all the stuff, got the bobblehead, and went back, tried to put it in the case. I can't find it. Is bobblehead an aid? Or is it miscellaneous? I don't know. There's no bobblehead in my fucking inventory. So maybe I'll go back and double check that I didn't leave it on the floor, because I did have to reload down there a couple times because it's I did kill Pikmin once with a plasma grenade, and I didn't know you could do that. I thought he would be marked essential, but he
can definitely die.
Yeah, I found that out the hard way. So
but yeah, that bobblehead is on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be moved around.
And
it hides.
So maybe I didn't pick it up in one of my reloads when I went home, but I was just like, all right, here's my bobblehead display. I'm going to load it in there. Where is it? Which one is it anyway? Is it lockpicking? Not lockpicking. Which one does he have?
Yeah, I think it might be lockpicking.
Is it lockpicking? Okay. Well, I for some reason I couldn't find it. So next time I'm back on the mainland, I've got to remember to stop back down in the basement to see if hope I didn't, burn it into my play that I did something weird and can't find it now. Other than that, I would just be doing the sort of Radiant quest, like Jess mentioned, the Faraday quest. You go help him. I went down there, got 2. There's some sort of data storage media. I don't know if they're holotapes or something, but you get the tapes and you bring them back, and he's like, "Oh, I thought there were 3. Well, I guess 2 is good enough, But I was like, oh, there's a locked chest down there too. And he's like, I don't know anything about that. So there's something weird with Faraday and a locked chest on that boat, which I'm looking forward to digging into later to see what weird secrets he's hiding.
That's not an easy one to get to either. I've been trying, and I just have not been able to get that quest to start.
Oh yeah?
So you talk to Jules down in the middle floor of the Acadia Synthra show.
Ooh, this will be fun.
But she doesn't like to talk to people.
Oh, so she'll just be like, no, not right now. Cool. All right, I'll try to get that to spark, because I was definitely like, Faraday's up to something, you guys.
Yeah, and you have to have done the Faraday quest before that one will ever proc.
Okay. Well, I've done that, so I can go talk to Jules down there on the 2nd level, Ray says. All right, I'll see if I can get that to go. Let's see, other than that, I went to help Chase, and like you guys were mentioning, the trappers, the cannibal trappers there, you follow the trail of blood down to their house, and they give you a synth head if you do a charisma check. I think it was a charisma. Well, they're all charisma.
Can you look at that in inventory? We don't actually get a head, do we? It's like as a quest item. I didn't even check my inventory before I gave it back to her.
I don't know if you check your Pip-Boy inventory, but you definitely, if you kill them all, you can collect the head from a dead body, I believe.
Then it must be in inventory. I didn't even look. Now I feel bad because, I love playing with Killo's head. And I mean, I have in the past taken pictures of it because, the guy deserves it. But yeah, I guess I don't know what it looks like. Do you know, Ray? Have you seen it in your inventory?
Mm-mm. No, I never have looked.
Yeah, I thought it was just text, but it may be a physical item.
Well, I charisma checked past the guys and whatever, and then,
Killed him anyway?
Yeah, I just decided, well, fuck these guys. Kill him anyhow. So yeah, let's see what else are we getting into. Anything else? I think that was just about it for my gameplay. I went back to the mainland a little bit just to get the ballistic weave and did a couple of things in the mainland, but spending most of my time over there in Fahaba. Other than that, started playing 76 a little bit, just barely doing the daily quests, not quests, the challenges, the scoreboard stuff, and I've got all the weeklies done. I showed up for the last 12 seconds of one of the new events, and then I saw this weird corpse, and I pulled something off of it, but it was just an event done. I was like, oh, I'm late to the party, guys. So I have zero experience with that one. And then when I was doing a daily ops in my custom, whatever those worlds are. Yeah, custom world. I saw, an event. I don't recognize that name. Let me go to it. And it was like, you're supposed to get these explosives, and there's a bunch of Mirelurks and these guys in power armor and set up these explosives. I didn't know what I was doing, and it failed pretty immediately. But these guys in power armors kept proccing, and all these Mirelurks are going around. And I saw that level up 3 times was one of the weeklies, so I just stayed there because it was a lot of XP. And so they just kept coming up, and I just kept killing Mirelurks and guys in power armor and stuff. But so I have technically been at both of the new events, but I still have zero clue what's actually going on yet. So I need to dabble in the new content more. But other than that, I think I'm 14-15 on the scoreboard, and that's not using the new boost stuff. There's like some new score boost thing. What is that about? Can someone inform me? Jess, do you know about this new score boost system?
25% score boost when you use this consumable. Yes, you too can get 25% more score for every bit of score you earn with the new score boost, available on the scoreboard and for purchase in the Atomic Shop.
And there were 2 that were given, I think, on the first level or something like that. So I have 2 in my inventory, but this is a limited resource. And then I was thinking in my head, is this something that you want to just go ahead and pop and take? There's plenty, you'll get them on the scoreboard. Or do you build them up and take them level 70 and on? You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you don't mind getting extra, or buying more, do them all along because you get a big benefit. And I think it lasts for 24 hours. So it's not like it's going to wear off in 1 hour like they sometimes do.
Oh, okay. All right.
So yeah. So if you take
go
one every time you play at the beginning of the session or for 24 hours, you are good.
And so it's kind of like a lunchbox, right? It's basically the same as a lunchbox.
Yeah, lunchboxes last 60 minutes in games. The lunchboxes do 60 minutes or 1 in-game hour.
Okay, this lasts a whole
and this would
day.
be 24 hours. So if you took one and then you logged out, had your lunch, went to the dog park, came back, you could still get the benefit. Yep.
Wonderful. Okay, now I see the difference. Cool.
So taking a look at the board, it looks like there's one every couple group of 10. So yeah, you get one at first level, you get one around rank 26. Looks like you get some more at rank 32. So yeah, every 10 to 15 levels, it looks like. Also, anyone listening right now, they didn't announce it. There was nothing anywhere, but it is the double score weekend too.
Woohoo! Nice.
Start off the season. So yeah, all kinds of score.
I did notice something weird when I was cooking a bunch of things. Is there a press up in the cooking menu on your D-pad to name dishes now or something?
No, but okay. So you know how you could change how much of something you make? There was a scroll bar back and forth to be able to make multiple of them. So when you are putting things in your vendor, for instance, and a few other locations, instead of scrolling for the number, you can actually type a number. So if you press up on that, anytime it's a numeric thing, it lets you type a number.
Thing. Oh, okay. Because it brings up the keyboard, so I thought, oh, it's going to let me rename this corn soup into Andrew's Awesome Corn Soup. No such luck. Okay, cool. Well, that's my gameplay. Otter is tapping on the keyboard. Stop that, Otter. bunch of plus signs.
This just in. According to SW Normal in chat currently, they said if you're talking about the synth's head that the group of trappers ate, then yes, it's a physical item you can examine in your inventory. But it is a quest item, so you cannot drop it on the ground, but you can see it in inventory.
Oh, that's awesome. Nice. Thanks, Swearl. Good deal. Speaking of Swearl, she sent in some feedback, and we got lots of feedback to get into, you guys. You want to roll into that?
Nice.
Let's, before we do some feedback, I just want to do a quick shout out to our patrons. How does that sound?
Oh, that sounds so awesome. Hey, patrons, I got something specially for you guys.
Scorecation!
Even though it's not scorecation, there's our shout out.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I just want to mention, like we do every couple months, that there are many ways you can support us. Listening live, participating on Facebook, here in Discord, sending in feedback, of course, that we're about to get into, but also on Patreon. So I want to give a shout out to our lovely and wonderful patrons. We got some new ones in the last, I think 6 months since last time I went over the list. We got some new ones, got some others who left. Anything you can do, we appreciate it. It helps cover hosting costs and all that. So Michael, pays less out of pocket and covers the hosting for all of our shows. Fallout Feed maybe being the longest, but also, Skyrim Addict, games, and Let's Plays, and a number of other things. So thank you guys so much. Big shout out to, going down the list, Matthew C., Sophie M., Dawn M., Mocha, Mikey, Mark N., Kyle B., Clinton L., John L., Stephen H., Cami S., Kelly B., Pantagrulia, Bob C., Will V., Kevin F., J Star, Colleen D., Stephen C., Craig M., Kenny S., Ray B., Lee B., Mikey P., Dale, Michelle L., VN Brazil, Pat Lusk, and Robert S.
She indeed shouted herself out, if you guys didn't catch that.
I caught that.
I tried to stop myself, but it was too late. My mouth was already doing it. But yeah, big shout out to our beautiful patrons, some of which may actually be us. It happens. We've had over 80, 90 of you over the years, and super appreciate it. Just want to say a big thank you to y'all.
Awesome. All right. Thanks so much to our Patreon folks. We really couldn't put it on without you, seriously. So big thank you. Let's roll into some feedback. First, I wanted to visit with Craig about his gameplay with the tabletop.
As we dance in the air, we make feedback.
Hello, Fallout Feed. Craig here with another update on our Fallout Tabletop role-playing game. It's been a little while since I've done one of these updates. We kind of missed a session and then had one, and then I went on vacation and I missed the next session. So it's been also a little while since I've played the game last, so hopefully I remember everything. So when we last left, we had saw a vertibird crash. So we headed off in that direction and found the wreckage. I mean, it was not hard to miss with the big, huge plume of smoke. We immediately found a couple dead scribes and a dead paladin in their power armor. And we saw 2 blood trails. We saw like one that was a lot heavier and then one that was like little splatters. We decided that whoever was at the end of the big blood trail was probably in more need of help if they were still alive, so we followed that one. We found a cave, and there was another scribe in there, missing a leg, but she had already passed away from her massive loss of blood. She did have a holotape on her, though, saying that they were on a recon mission scouting out the NCR. So we definitely need to head to the NCR fort and let them know what's going on. We followed the trail back to the wreckage where we found a super mutant who was kind of poking around and stuff. He immediately told us that he was not going to hurt us, and we decided to let him tag along. In parentheses, I'm going to say this was a new player. The player made a new character, basically, because the gunslinger that he made was kind of a carbon copy of one of the other players. So he decided to bow out and play a super mutant instead. So we've got a super mutant tagging along with us now.
Oh, that's fun.
But anyway, so we follow the smaller blood trail and just find that some mole rats had made off with her leg. The super mutant kind of scared them away, and then he picked up the leg and put it in his bag to
started eating it.
Snack on later.
Later, exactly.
So then after that, we decided to head on NCR fort and let them know what was going on. We talked to the lieutenant that was in charge of the fort. And he asked if we could get them a geck. He didn't say why, but we decided to take on that mission because we kind of need money. Well, caps, not money. You know what I mean. So anyway, that is where the session that I played in ended. I talked to the guy that runs the game, and he said that after they left, or after we all left the fort, they ended up being ambushed by a bunch of rad scorpions and eventually made it to Vault 22, I believe he said.
Plants?
It was a vault that the super mutant knew about. So that is where they ended their session because they didn't want to explore the vault without me. So hopefully I will have another update soon. We play next Friday, not this Friday. I guess when this recording would be played. But anyway, so I'm going to leave it here. And awesome. I will see you in the wasteland, smooth skins.
Thanks, Cannibal Craig. There's a few things here. I'd forgotten that this was tied to New Vegas. He said they were searching for an NCR outpost, so it must be they're out in the Southwest there. And then I was thinking, wait, is that something that they wrote, or do they get these out of a book? Do they have like a book of quests? Because I know sometimes there's like the rule book that you have to follow, like that is the world, but then there's like some people play that the DM, the dungeon master, writes everything that happens, or are they getting these quests out of a book? I've never played this tabletop game.
They've got both. There are definitely modules for the Modifius Fallout Tabletop role-playing game.
Uh-huh.
There are definitely modules. Like my friend Rob is running some on Twitch lately. Sophie jumped in on them, and a few other friends jumped in on them, and
nice.
He's doing them for modules.
That's very cool. But is it all oriented and from the New Vegas era?
Oh, no, definitely not.
Okay.
All over the place. Yep. When I did them with our friend Dave with his Rad Rolls group, that was set in the pit for that one shot we did.
Oh, cool. That's fun. I like that they added a super mutant. And then I was thinking, wait, is it Fox? No, it's few and far between the super mutants that are kindly to humans, but. So that's cool. All right, Craig, thanks so much, man. I love hearing about that. Please continue sending us your adventures there. And one thing I learned about Dungeons and Dragons and that sort of style of gaming when Ray and I were participants in the Skyrim 10AD show back in the day, is that it takes 3-4 hours, you play a nice long play session, and your characters literally move 20 feet. You know what I mean? It's just like it takes a long time to progress through one of these stories.
It really feels like nothing gets done sometimes. Yeah, it takes an hour to finish one battle, you know?
Yeah, exactly. But that's great, Craig. Keep them coming, buddy. All right, let's go ahead and roll into Eric. Hey, Suliore, what you been doing, bud?
Hello, fellow Wastelanders. Eric, a.k.a. Suliore here, and I've got a little bit of a confession to make. If you already follow me on Twitter, you probably have already seen this, but I have already finished the Far Harbor story.
What?
So, yeah, I did get it a little bit ahead, before the last couple of days, but as I'm recording this, it is Monday the 19th, and I spent pretty much all day yesterday playing Far Harbor. So if you know me at all, I know at least a few guys, if you guys know this, but Father's Day isn't the easiest holiday of the year for me. Like I said, I know a few of you know why. But yeah, wasn't really doing anything, so I pretty much spent the whole day playing Far Harbor, and then some. So yeah, I do think it's kind of funny that Fallout 4, even in survival mode, has kind of become a comfort game for me, literally. But yeah, there you have it. So I have a lot of gameplay to get through, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to break this up into at least 2 segments. So let's go ahead and get into it, because I've already kind of wasted enough time with my preamble.
Yes,
so,
prefacing and preambling.
Yeah, after I was outside of Acadia the last time I sent in an entry, so I went in, talked to Dima and Kasumi, and I couldn't hack the terminal or pick the lock to get evidence for Kasumi, and the speech check with Dima failed, of course. So I went back to the pier and I completed quests for the Mariner and Avery. Avery had the defogger or the fog condenser machines, and the Mariner wanted you to go and get tools. So yeah, I went to go get the tools for the Mariner, and there's this guy outside. I can't remember what his name is exactly, but this comes back to bite me in the ass. I want to say his name is Machete Mike. I could be wrong, but he wanted to buy them off of me, claiming he had a boatload of caps. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to be smart about this, and I'm going to refuse and then straight up murder him. So yeah, that's what I did, and he had over 3,000 caps on him, and I used that to buy the Admiral's legendary harpoon gun off of Alan. So here's another thing that kind of comes to bite me in the ass. I went up to the National Park Visitor Center, which is my assigned settlement, and I have a mod to where you can claim it without doing the prerequisite quest, which I think Mitch has these quests. I never was able to get a quest from Mitch, and that also comes back to bite me in the ass. But yeah, I went ahead and claimed the settlement, and I set up shop there. And I set up caravans for Captain Longnuts' cabin and the Starlight Drive-In, so I can have a settlement that takes me back to the Commonwealth. After that, I met Erickson, the super mutant, and I didn't realize he was friendly at first, so I killed him. And then, I was streaming this, and I think it was Swear I'm Normal told me that you can actually buy dogs off of him and that he's friendly. So I felt bad and reloaded, and I bought the Super Mutant Hound, or Vuvuzela, whichever it is. I can't remember which. The little Vuvuzela dog, and sent him to the Visitor Center. This was all on the way to do the Captain's Dance with the Rite of Passage quest to kill the Mirework Queen. Was able to get up to the Mirework Queen pretty easily, but she kept handing me my head in 1 or 2 hits, so I wasn't able to finish that. See, after that, I came across the Echo Lake lumber settlement, and I took that as well with a mod. Went back to Acadia and failed to get Dima to open up on his plan, and I felt like an idiot when I found Cog's key upstairs to the storage room, so I used that to overhear him discussing it with somebody else. And he then gave me the quest to get his memories. And, Faraday's quest to recover some storage units, I did that, only to have him bitch at me about how he thought that there were more, but whatever.
What a dick.
By the way, screw the trappers that are up there by that boat. Those guys suck. There were several. One of them had a harpoon gun and somehow headshotted me from long range.
Another good reason to swim there.
That happened, but... I went back and, Faraday's computer, I don't know what was going on with my brain, but I kept trying to hack Faraday's computer even though it was on a master lock, and I could have swore that I read somewhere that there was a password for that computer, but no. Went back to Faraday only to realize that the quest had been completed, so that was a big waste of time. So, that was a dumb moment on my part. So after that, I went back to the visitors center so I could fast travel to the Echo Lake Lumberyard, since it's the closest place to where you can get Dima's memories, the nucleus. I went from there to the nucleus, and I didn't realize that you kind of have to agree to join the Children of Adam, just so you can get safe entry into where the nucleus is. So I decided to try killing everybody. So I killed the 3 people outside, no problem. And then I went in and, of course everybody's hostile. And those radium rifles suck. They make you over encumbered really quickly. I wasn't able to succeed in killing everybody, and then I realized that's not what you're supposed to do anyway. You just have to kind of show face to get in there, and then you don't have to officially join them. But I did do that trip where they send you to the spring to drink that water that puts you on an acid trip. That was really interesting. You follow that shadow girl. And, that is when you get they take you to the little shack or whatever it is with the periodic table. There's some ghouls outside there. You have to take them out. And then there's the password, mother. So, I went back to the nucleus and just kind of made my way back to where the terminal is, where Dima's memories are. And, of course, there's a couple of Assaultrons and some Protectrons on the way. I got killed by the first Assaultron a few times before I got lucky. And then I kept dying with the second one over and over again. But I was streaming all this. And, of course, I never am able to complete something really difficult like that on stream. And as soon as I stopped the stream, right before I stopped the stream, I put a mine right outside of where the Assaultron enters the room. And again, right after the stream stopped, I kept trying, and its legs got crippled by the mine. So, after that, it was easy. So I am going to leave off here, right where I'm about to enter Dima's Blue Nightmare. So again, this is part 1 of at least 2, and I will update you guys here in a couple weeks. So until then, see you all in the wasteland.
Awesome, thank you, good sir. You guys ever crippled a Assaultron there and then walked up all cocky, be like pointing your gun at his head, be like, get ready to kiss this guy, and then all of a sudden they blast you with their face laser and kill you, and you're like, oh, I didn't account for that.
Yeah. Well, it's always the worst with them because you cripple their legs and then they crawl across the floor after you.
They're with their arms. They're
With their
scraping
arms,
the
they're
ground.
dragging themselves across the floor. So you know you're doomed.
Like, no, stop. Yeah, and they can still discharge their laser even if their legs are broken. He was talking about, I had to head back to Echo Lake Lumber, just because that's the closest settlement, so I could do fast travel. They did it again. They put the concentration of all the settlements are in the upper half of the map, just like it is on the mainland. There's if you look at the settlements that are below the equator on the main map, there's like 2 that are below the equator. And there are none in goddamn Far Harbor. If you want to fast travel anywhere, you got to run halfway across the damn island to get up there to find some place if you want to travel with your caravan or whatever, they did it again, you guys.
I mean, I think technically there are 5, but you don't. I mean, does Murkwater even count as a settlement, really?
No, it doesn't.
It's the worst.
If you want a mosquito bite, maybe.
I feel like they did that as a joke.
I like Murkwater.
Because there's nobody there, Ray. You're antisocial. You're just antisocial.
So I like solitude. It's nice.
And he mentioned he got his ass kicked by the trapper guys with the harpoon gun. And I was just making fun of the harpoon gun earlier. Why is it that a harpoon gun in the hands of me is worse than the BB gun you get at the beginning of Fallout 3? But in the hands of the harborman, it'll tack you to the goddamn wall like a railroad rifle. What the fuck, man?
You see, it's a complicated equation of the ratio on
Don't
the damage
go into
output
this goddamn ratio.
But no, seriously, because they only need one piece of ammo too, so not having to be overburdened by all that.
Jesus, they are brutal, man. Those harpoon guns.
They all have legendary trapper heads. So the lobster trap gives them, the extra power they need to pin you to the wall.
Some mystical crustacean power. Oh, great. All right. Thanks, Eric. Looking forward to part 2 of your adventures there. Let's see. Jess, you said you have the ability to pop on Mr. Sullivan's feedback for us?
Yeah, we got some feedback from Sullivan right at the beginning of the show. So I'm going to pop that in now. Hopefully this comes through. If it's not loud enough, give me a thumbs up or thumbs down if I need to change the volume. Okay, Andrew?
Sounds good.
Hello, Fallout Feed. Sully here with the continuing adventures of Stuart. She's on her way across the wasteland trying to recruit different settlements and stuff to build up the Minutemen now that she's been made the general. So she's on the way to a farm to help them out and see if she can recruit them. As she comes across this blown up building, she finds a bunch of bodies of Brotherhood of Steelworker members. And it was apparently a big fight because their armor is melted and fused together. She finds some holotapes and some notes on what exactly happened, but she'll tuck that away for another time. She's back on task. On the way over to the farm, she comes up and it's named Finch Farm, and she talks with the Finches there, and apparently the son has ran away to join some raiders. But the mother is really worried, but the father is just fed up. Only thing he's worried about is a sword that belonged to their family. So she heads out to a place called Saugus Ironworks, tries to take out all the raiders there, gets through most of the building, but the raider leader, she just can't best. So she had to leave and postpone that until she can build up some better defenses.
Wow.
As she was headed back, she was attacked on the way out by a legendary sentry bot, 2 alpha mongrels, and a rad scorpion.
Oh, Lord.
Amazingly, her and Piper were able to fight off all those enemies and survive the attack. So, headed on, she's going to try to make her way back over to Diamond City to resupply and try to come up with a better strategy to take out this raider boss. So she comes up on this little settlement called Covenant. She went inside, and after she passed their really weird entrance exam, and something just seems off about the place. So she did some snooping around, and finds out that there's an off-site base that has something to do with it. She goes over into the drainage pipe, finds them, and is immediately attacked by the leader and the people there. So her and Piper commence to kill everyone, come back over to Covenant, and the people of Covenant are very angry because of that. So they start attacking. So her and Piper kill all the settlers of Covenant, but now they can get rid of the goofy entrance exam and actually make a proper settlement out of it. So she rests there and then heads out the next morning, goes over and finds the damaged house on the riverbank.
Okay.
It's called Taffington Boathouse. So
Nice.
she figures that would be a good spot for another waypoint base, safe house. So she clears out all the enemies, the blood bugs from around Taffington, starts building up and fixing the place up. And after a long, tedious session of building, she walks down off the roof and runs into a dead Brahmin corpse over by the boathouse, and it immediately kills her. Yes, she was killed by a dead cow corpse.
Oh, man.
I guess anything's possible in the wasteland.
It must have been out
at
way
the
too long.
reincarnation, she goes through and does a little clearing out around the National Guard depot.
Oh, he lost all his building too.
And
Ouch.
somehow Piper disappears. Don't know what happened to her. So I figure she must have got left too long or something happened, so she'll find her later. So she travels on up the road and comes across another small settlement called called County Crossing, rather. She speaks with the people at County Crossing, and they said they would be interested in joining the Minutemen, but they need some raiders taken care of out on Revere Beach. So Stewart agrees to it. She heads out back to Diamond City to resupply and finds Piper. For some reason, she got dismissed and she was back at home. Re-recruits Piper, and they head out for the Revere Beach. They come up on the Revere Beach area and take out all the raiders on the outside, and then uses up most of her ammo and supplies, so has to go back and restock. Came back after that to go into the actual station. The first time they went in, got all the way to the end, to the boss at the end. I forget her name. It starts with a C, but she ends up dying right at the end to the raider boss. Come back again a second time, was able to clear that out on the exit, finds a couple straggling raiders, takes them out, gets to the end of the station and hears some noise in a chained up room. So what's the smart thing to do? It should be to leave and go ahead and go on your way. But no, let's open the door and see what's going on. Well, she's attacked by a flood of ghouls of various strengths, and she does not survive the incident.
And a dead
It's called
cow.
survival mode, not keep dying mode.
Replay and retry, but this time she takes a smarter strategy and is able to kill all the ghouls between her and Piper and make sure that Revere Beach Station is 100% clear.
Legendary farming.
We head out of Revere Beach Station on the way back to give County Crossing the news, and just doing a little looking around outside, and all of a sudden she hears a growl. Well, out of nowhere comes a death claw.
Oh no.
So Stewart, being low on ammunition and not the greatest armor, quickly nopes out of that situation and takes off running. Piper is standing there taking pot shots at the death claw, but Stewart knows that right now they are no match for this death claw. So she finds a spot and takes cover and hides until the heat dies down. The death claw loses interest and walks off. And then they travel back to Diamond City. In the meantime, she did a couple of quests for Diamond City to try to help that settlement out. She repaired the wall, or got the paint to repair the wall. She did help the radio DJ there with the situation he got himself in. and helped him gain some confidence. She also rescued one of the brothers that got himself in trouble trying to help Travis the DJ. So she cleaned up that mess, did a little exploring around the area, came upon this colonial ship filled with robots, did a few quests for them, and started helping them with their goal of trying to get the ship back in flight to make it to the water. She has not finished that yet. The area was too dangerous to try to get to where she needed to recover a replacement part. So she needed some more levels and to strengthen up and get her supplies in order. She's currently sitting at level 19 with spec'd into the assigned quests pretty well, but starting to add some others. I want to try to work on local leader so it can get some supplies shipping between the different settlements. And then she's headed out to rescue Nick Valentine in her next adventure. That's all for now. As some of you know, I've been having some other issues, like how life gets in the way, but hopefully before long I'll have another feedback and get caught up with a story.
All right.
Thank you all, and see you in the wasteland.
Awesome, Mr. Sullivan. Thank you so much. Survival mode, Saugus Ironworks, level 19. Yeesh. I don't know if that's going to go so well.
Yeah, that's a tough one. You can't blame anyone for trying to put that off, for sure. And I tease him, but I mean, we're all dying a ton in survival mode. Even if it was a little bit more like Groundhog Day for some of us, or as Sullivan put it in chat, I prefer my 100,000 ways to die approach, Jessica. We've all been there, especially in the lower levels. I find I'm dying less now, but when I do die, it's monumental. And
it's always you last saved an hour ago. So
way too often. Yeah. And dying after building, like that is
the worst.
Yeah, I usually remember to save before I leave my settlement, but like a surprise attack from a dead Brahmin, I don't even get it.
Yeah, how do you defend against that?
I assumed there was a blood bug inside of it or something. Like, what is that? What was happening there? Is there a mine near that dead Brahmin? Like, what happened there?
Sometimes, with a creature, something can glitch. Like they're talking in chat. Sometimes you brush against a creature, something glitches, and it kills you. Yeah, it's just a weird thing. It happens.
And a zombie cow comes back to life to eat you. Yeah, it's terrible.
No way of bug in Bethesda games.
No way. It's a feature. He hit up over there to Covenant. He mentioned 2 of the trickster followers you can get there. He said he gave some confidence to Travis. I actually I mentioned previous episodes I couldn't get the Bobrov brothers to bring up the quest. I finally got that to kick off by going back and forth, and you have to go at a certain time of day and blah blah blah. It's really touchy to get that going, but I finally got that going, and I do have Travis with me now. So I've got Billy and Travis and Cat Meat. We're fucking a grand band there. But he mentioned Travis, and I didn't know if anybody else ever abandons that quest and keeps Travis with them. But he also mentioned Covenant, and you can sort of do the same thing. It doesn't work quite as well, but if you do the Covenant stuff, and as you go across the lake there to go into the sewer pipe to meet Honest Dan, or whatever his name is it Dan?
Yes, Honest Dan. Can you get Honest Dan to follow you?
Honest Dan will stick with you, not quite as well as Travis will, but Honest Dan, you can sort of tag him along too, and it works fairly well, not nearly as well as Travis, but you can get Honest Dan to follow you around too. So give that a try out there, anybody who likes to carry an army with you. But that's awesome, Mr. Sullivan. Thank you so much for your submission. Looking forward to hearing about your continuing adventures, sir.
Yeah, I enjoyed all the settlements in this one, too. It was a very settlement-filled adventure.
It was, yeah. Very cool. All right, up next on the list, we've got show favorite Clint. Hey, Clint, what's going on, bud?
G'day, Clint again. So I wimped out on going back to tell the Nakanos that their daughter is dead. And I invoked the save where Peterson is arriving at Far Harbour. I'll try to be a bit more thorough this time, not only doing walk in the park and where you belong, but some of the side quests for the harbourmen as well, seeing as they are my assigned faction. So after meeting the happy couple on the wharf and helping fight off the monster attack, Peterson was asked by Captain Avery if she could please help some of the locals. First things first, though, and it was on to the last plank to recruit old Longfellow to show the way to Arcadia. He was easy to persuade, and the trip up the hill went okay. Remember, Peterson has a very effective firearm and 2 companions who love to get in the thick of a fight. Just don't stand in front of them, because in their enthusiasm, they will shoot you in the back. And they have identical effective firearms. They all arrived in Arcadia, and Longfellow offered his companionship services, but Peterson decided she has her hands full with Curie and the doc. Upstairs for a little life-saving sleep, and inside to talk with Dima and find Kasumi. Kasumi was still determined to find out what was going on, and Dima gave his explanation about trying to broker peace between the harbourmen and the children of Adam. Now, that took care of the required quests, but Peterson decided to heed Captain Avery's plea to help out. So instead of racing off to pretend to join the children of Adam, she went back to Far Harbour. First up was fixing a few fog condensers to help with the town water supply. Then it seemed everyone was available to be helped. Cassie Dalton was first on the list, as Dalton Farm was an assigned location. So it was off to avenge her family members by killing several ghouls, a fog crawler, and a particular lighthouse-dwelling trapper. The reward was a legendary boat hook and access to Dalton Farm. A good start. There was a bit of a hitch at Brooks Head Lighthouse when Peterson decided to do a little bombarding from afar with a missile launcher before going in. And as soon as Curie saw some trappers running towards them, she intervened to protect Peterson by stepping in front, just as Peterson was firing. Perfect timing. Luckily, Peterson had located a mattress in a run-down house only a minute or so before the attack, and so woke up there and took care to note where Curie was before firing this time. Later, Peterson was stopped in Far Harbour by the resident doctor, who suggested she go do the captain's dance. That was a bit of fun, and the locals seemed to set great store in the achievement. The only hitch in this quest was, in all the frantic shooting of Mirelurks, the witness was taken out by a stray bullet. It didn't seem to make any difference to the result. Then it was a few errands for the mariner so she could shore up the hull. That meant finding some special tools, taking on a shipload of trappers, as well as a few Mirelurks for their carapaces. Getting the tools meant she found Machete Mike, who offered 2,000 caps for the tools, but she decided to take them back to the mariner, much to Machete Mike's disgust. For the Mirelurk carapaces, she travelled to Haddock Cove, where she found this harrowing account of the demise of the settlement there.
This is Bray Husky. And this is probably my last recording. Oh, jeez. I can see my friggin' guts here.
Oh, no.
They came up from underneath us. Big, huge freaking Mirelurks. Tons of them. The dead fish and chum must have lured them to us. Oh, God. My leg. The rest are dead. All dead. Luke got pinched right in half, and I saw Rowan screaming while another one pulled him under. His eyes. Jesus, his eyes. I went to get Braun and found some huge fish, man, thing, eating what was left of him. He clawed me right across my guts before I could get a shot off. Oh, jeez. This place was impenetrable. We could see anyone coming for miles. Oh, underwater goddamn fish monsters. Oh, I just hope... Oh, God, no. Oh, it found me. No, no! No! You get there! Get away from me! Oh, God! Is this thing still recording? You've got to be kidding me!
Okay.
Oh man.
And there were a couple more people
That's awesome.
who needed help. Mitch from The Last Plank wanted his Uncle Ken found at the National Park Visitors Centre, and little Bertha wanted Echo Lake Chamber cleared of ghouls. Peterson combined these two and now has 3 settlements up and running, with provisioners keeping them in contact. Now this is where a mod called Transfer Settlements comes in handy. Once a site is cleared, a copy of a previous build of the settlement can be built without needing supplies or perk levels. All of this also takes a lot of travelling back and forth across the island. So I got to confess, I made a fast travel shortcut mod for returning to Far Harbour after each outing, just to save a little bit of time. So the harbourmen should be happy with mainlander Peterson now, and this time she might be able to save Kasumi. We'll see how that goes when next we meet in the Wasteland.
Seems like Clint's doing a little bit of time travel looping here. He zoomed through it. If you remember previous episode, he finished the whole Far Harbor story in one go, and now he's taking another swing at it. He started out by saying that he didn't have the heart to go back to tell the Nakanos that their daughter is dead. What I know we're not there yet in the storyline, but what that's part of the thing. Like, when
if Kasumi dies,
you have to go back and tell them. I guess you're the detective they hired, so I guess that would be part of your responsibility, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, you could ghost them, but you're not going to get XP for that.
Well, you shouldn't get XP for killing their daughter either.
Oh gosh, live update. In chat right now, I'm hearing from Sullivan, Piper has just ran out to attack Swan.
Good job, Piper. He said
I'm sure it'll be fine. No problem.
Get yourself some boat pieces, Piper. Clint said that when he's doing the captain's dance, that he accidentally killed the witness. Who's the witness to the captain's dance? I didn't have anybody with me.
The one that's supposed to be able to tell him that you actually did kill the Mirelurk Queen.
I don't recall that I went there. Is someone supposed to be with you? There's someone else.
Well,
there's
somebody that stands out in the on the rocks.
Really?
And watches.
I don't recall that at all. And I did this 2 weeks ago or something. Goodness. I just got back and they're like, "Oh, hey, you killed the thing. Good job." But there's a witness there. I had no idea. Maybe I killed them too.
Yeah, is it Teddy? Does Teddy come out with you, or who comes out with you for that? I haven't done it.
I think it's some just some random person.
Do they actually come like with you, like follow you there and run together?
Oh, it's Dottie. It's Dottie that joins you. Just looked it up.
Yeah. I think they're already there.
You meet them there. Okay, weird. I don't recall that part of it at all. And he mentioned a mod. Ray, tell me about this mod that you copy the settlement and without perks or levels or supplies, you redo. What was he saying? What was that?
It transfer settlements. It builds. From blueprint.
Oh, blueprint.
So a settlement that's already been built once can be blueprinted, and then you can build from the blueprint.
Like in different playthroughs, I guess, or how's? In what instance?
Well, they can be anywhere. You can get them. You can get them anywhere. And they're available.
Oh, and you can just copy it and plop it down in different settlements. Something that if you like something you built, you can blueprint it and then put it in multiple settlements then.
Yeah, or somebody else built.
Or somebody else built? In the case of what? Sim Settlements or something?
No, it was separate from Sim Settlements.
So, you just mean that you can blueprint other structures in the game, then? Like, could I blueprint that main house and Sanctuary and then plop the Sanctuary house all over the wasteland?
No, it's a regular settlement building, So if somebody, decorates the Red Rocket and, builds all kinds of fences around it and you really like it, they can blueprint that and, you can get that blueprint and build it yourself. Or if you build
download
it
there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can
so
download
save
there.
file you
Okay,
have to download.
I see now. All right. I was misunderstanding what was happening there. That's very cool, Clint. Thank you for your feedback, sir. Always a jolly good time listening to Clint there. He'll be coming on the show here in just a couple weeks, I believe. So stay tuned to Clint's adventures. Let's roll on and talk to the Green Dragon.
Hello, this is Jason, a.k.a. Green Dragon. We're going to continue with Debbie's Chronicles. October 15, 2288. I talked to the girl's parents today and found out she's not a child like the reports made her out to be. She's 19, only a couple of years younger than me. But her father treats her like a child. Sadly, I know the feeling. It took my mum to convince him I was old enough to go find my own path in life. Her mum wasn't as worried until I came back with evidence that she might have been tricked by the settlement of synths in Far Harbour into thinking she was a synth. I'm on a boat now headed for the Far Harbour settlement. October 19, 2288. I've talked to Dima and let her know I'm from the Institute and gave it the option of returning peacefully. This was declined, but it doesn't seem to be worried about me having access to the space. I've had a good look around and will think on how to resolve the situation. I also talked to Kazumi, and I think I've convinced her that she's not a synth, but she thinks Dima is up to something, and after overhearing a conversation Dima had, I'm not sure if it's up to what she thinks, but it sounds like a good opportunity for me to get some leverage on Dima. October 20th, 2288. While getting ready to look for the Worshippers of Adam settlement, Kate pulled me aside and confessed to having a psycho addiction, and that she had heard of a vault controlled by the Gunners gang that could cure her of it. I teleported us back to the Institute and caught them up on what I had learned about Dima. We're staying here tonight and looking for this vault tomorrow. October 25th, 2288. We're back at Far Harbour renting rooms for the night. Getting into the vault was a bit of a mission, but we managed it and Kate has been cured of her addiction. She does seem to be a lot happier in her own way. Tomorrow we go looking for the Adam settlement. October 26, 2288. We got to the Children of Adam settlement to find they're in the middle of executing someone. When we approached the group and asked to get in, they started getting hostile. When we drew our guns and told them to back down, they attacked us, forcing us to drop them. When we entered the settlement, we were attacked from all sides and forced to pacify all of them. At the back of the settlement, we found the computer holding Dima's memories, and I managed to crack the encryption, locking them away. Dima definitely has his own agenda, and I'm not sure I want to take him back to the Institute. It could be more trouble than it's worth. I also think this place needs to be destroyed, so nobody else can learn what I've learned.
Wow, that's interesting. So he is ratting out Dima to the Institute. He's also obviously not a fan of the children. He must be a Harborman is his faction then?
I believe so.
Okay.
Also, he did do an Institute playthrough. Like, Green Dragon has finished the main quest, and he is Institute. So basically, he is the Institute at this point.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to report...
Institute and Harborman.
He's going to report Dima to himself then.
Yeah, exactly. That's why he's evaluating his options and what he wants to do with him.
So, okay, that's cool because I'm doing BOS Brotherhood stuff, and I'm reporting back to them about Acadia. So it's interesting. He's an Institute and it's, he says it's not worth the trouble to go back and report that, well, since he's the boss now anyway. But that's cool that we're from different angles doing the, oh, hey, look, there's a synth settlement here. What are we going to do about that? But I'm sure the Institute would do the same thing that the Brotherhood is doing and just be like, well, keep an eye on them and just check in with us again later, So that's great, man. Oh, and cured Kate. That's cool. That I always love when that happens. Kate, how does her personality change after she gets cured of the psycho addiction there? Gotta love Kate.
I feel like she becomes a good bit friendlier, in a lot of ways, but obviously some of her temperament changes too. You don't do drugs around her and stuff like that.
Oh,
no
she
longer approves
dislikes
such
them.
things.
Yeah.
No.
She accused you of staring at her ass all the time?
Oh, yeah, that doesn't stop. I mean, yeah, just as fine as ever, at least in her opinion. No, it's fine. Quick note from Clint. He mentions that Kate will still consume Psycho if you give them to her. So if you put her in her inventory as a trade item, she will still use it.
You're a bad friend, Clint.
Don't enable.
You're an enabler. All right. Thanks, Green Dragon, so much, buddy. Hope to hear more of your adventures coming up soon. Next, we've got...
Greetings, Wastelanders. This is Lee Benjamin with the continuing story of Mamba Caramba, attorney post-law. We went back to the mainland to collect Nick Valentine and sent Robert ahead to Longfellow's cabin in Far Harbor while Nick prepared for the trip. He decided to wear a captain's cap to blend in with the Far Harbor residents. I'm skeptical, but I'm hoping he can talk to Acadia, synth to synth. Maybe he's even a great-grandfather figure to them or something. Nick and I stopped by the Nakano's house, but they barely acknowledged him as they were frantic for news of their daughter, which I didn't have. All I could tell them was that she had been seen in Far Harbor and was headed up to the synth colony. Returning to Far Harbor, we talked to Cassie Dalton and headed up to the Dalton farm to avenge her grandfather by killing a frog crawler. Along the way, we found a set of T-51 power armor that had been painted in the iconic Vim Cola green. Vim was a cola preferred by the Maniacs over Nuka-Cola, a preference I never personally understood. After reaching the Dalton farm, which was empty, we searched around and suddenly the fog crawler was upon us. He appeared to be a huge mutated lobster over 7 feet tall, again with legs that he should not have had. After a running battle all over the farm, we got lucky when the fog crawler got stuck on the roof over the workbench. Since he could not move from that spot, we were finally able to kill it. On the way back to Far Harbor, we ran across a legendary fog crawler that old Longfellow had called Shipbreaker. Knowing the fog crawler's weakness with difficult terrain, I was able to position myself atop the stern of a fishing boat buried in the sand and lure him into a place where he couldn't get to me. Both Dogmeat and Nick were hurt, but since we were able to plink away at the fog crawler, it succumbed to our abuse. Returning to Far Harbor, Cassie Dalton and old Longfellow were both quite pleased with our results. Cassie was so grateful that she gave me the Dalton farm. Sometimes it pays to help people out and to be more lucky than good. Returning to Dalton Farm, we made additional repairs to the equipment and set it up as our second settlement at Far Harbor. During this time, we completed some additional tasks for the people at Far Harbor, including clearing out the ghouls at the national park and recovering power tools for the Mariner to help her repair the hull. With the new settlement established, it was time to return to Acadia and introduce ourselves. At this point, I realized that my Pip-Boy, the pride of Vault-Tec, had developed a glitch. The display did not fully turn on. This became stranger when I figured out that it worked fine when I was in power armor. So with the Pip-Boy screen not working, I now have to spend even more time in the power armor. What a steaming pile of sweat-soaked fun. At some point, I'll have to ask the Vault-Tec rep if he has any idea where I can get it fixed or replaced, or if he has a source for an industrial-grade deodorant. Went back to the observatory at Acadia. I met the synth leader, Dima. Turned out that he's another Institute prototype synth like Nick, but he clearly took a different path. He claimed to know Nick and that they were brothers, but Nick has no recollection of it. Unlike Nick, Dima had not gotten any human memories and personality from a donor, but had been allowed for his personality to develop naturally. Dima's understanding of the world around him and his understanding of the dichotomy between the rights of humans and the lack of rights given to the synths, he formed a distrust of the Institute. Dima witnessed the iterative multiple overwrites of Nick's memories to get a configuration that was stable, and he developed a compassion for Nick. He concluded that such violations would not be tolerated by humans against other humans. Dima said that Nick had forgotten because when he was reprogrammed with the personality and memories of police detective Nick Valentine, it completely overwrote anything from before that time. Dima decided the only solution was for them to leave the Institute. He made a plan, and they broke out of the Institute together. With their newfound freedom, they used their combined experiences to survive in the wasteland. After some undisclosed time, they decided that they had taught each other everything that they could, and decided to go their separate ways. Since then, Dima had been trying to increase his memory capacity, and Nick had lived his life in the wasteland until he stumbled across some raiders and a young girl who turned out to be the daughter of the mayor of Diamond City at the time. Nick's accumulated experiences had probably overflowed his memory capacity, and he had unconsciously overwritten or basically forgotten his experiences with Dima. Nick wasn't so sure, but he'd give Dima the benefit of the doubt for now and think about it. We found Kasumi working in the basement of the observatory, fixing some broken equipment. She seemed unharmed and accepted that she was a synth. However, she had concerns about Acadia and Dima. She knew that Dima and his top lieutenants often had meetings in a secure location, and they seemed to be arguing about something. She was worried about their motives and suggested that I find a key to the nearby storage room and eavesdrop on one of their meetings. I agreed to her plan to learn more about the true nature of the Acadian synth refuge. I confirmed the storage room was locked and talked to several of the residents. I found out that Cog, the local shopkeeper, had a key to the storeroom. Unfortunately, the operative word was had. Based on when he thought he lost it, I was able to find it in the highest level of the observatory, where he had helped to move some boxes. The next night, Nick, Dogmeat, and I got up just after midnight and snuck into the storeroom and waited. Eventually, Dima Faraday, his technical advisor and doctor, mechanic, whatever, and an ex-Institute courser, a synth retention enforcer, named Chase, came into the adjacent room and started strategizing. It turned out that they needed to recover some of Dima's memories that he had left in safekeeping with the Children of Adam, back when they had more stable leadership. None of them could infiltrate their base and abandon nuclear submarine pen without the children knowing they had done so. After the meeting, I confronted Dima with what I had learned and was tasked with infiltrating the base to retrieve his memories. I had a holotape that would tell me what to do and give me access to the secure location in the submarine pen where his oldest memories were kept, now renamed the Nucleus by the Children of Adam. Now that we had a long trip ahead of us, we took stock of our supplies. Since I didn't have a steady supply of fusion cores for the power armor, I asked Nick to look at my Pip-Boy and see if he could do anything to fix it. Thanks to his lockpicks and other fine tools that he used for self-repair in the field, he finally got the display working again. Yay, no more smelly power armor. I immediately took the time for my first decent shower in weeks. Finishing our assessment of supplies, we decided it would be best to go by Far Harbor and restock on our way to the Nucleus in the center of the island. I told Kasumi the plan, and she would not leave until she knew the result, so I agreed to let her know the outcome. Thinking about the current state of things, I guess I'm now also a spy. I asked Nick, how do I get myself into these situations? He told me, it's a consequence of basically being a good person, and I couldn't disagree with him.
Thank you, Lee. I like how he wears a captain's hat to blend in with what he calls maniacs. Jess, are you offended by a maniac? Come on.
It's true. All of it.
Well, you know what? I think he might be a masshole anyway, so...
It's true. All of it. No, honestly, maniacs is a thing, but like no one actually says that. You know, we say manners.
What's he doing with his Pip-Boy screen? What was that all about? Was it actually glitching out in his game or something? Or what's up with that?
Yeah, I'm not sure what he was getting up to on that
Nick
part.
fixed it.
Yeah, it was a problem in game, he said.
Yeah, it was in the game. Okay.
And then, so he sort of wrote it into a story that he had to stay in the power armor because he could actually access the Pip-Boy screen while in power armor, but not while out of power. That sucks. I don't know if I would ever figure that one out because I never get in power armor.
Also, this continuing saga with Mamba Caramba and the smelly power armor. Yeah. Yeah. I never really thought about how much power armor must stank, with like that leather lining and you're all sealed in like a can.
Yeah. Worse than catcher's gear, hockey player, goalie stuff. Gross, stinky. He also mentioned the daughter of the DC mayor. What was that about? The Diamond City mayor daughter in Acadia?
Oh, well, that's part of Nick's story. That's how Nick got into Diamond City in the first place. So the mayor way back when, a good 100 years ago, when Nick first came to Diamond City, I think it was about 100, somewhere between 80 and 100.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Nick had come across a girl in distress, essentially the mayor's daughter at the time of Diamond City. She was younger, late teens, I think, and she had gotten to know someone in town who was just kind of passing through and decided to run away with him. Well, he was actually part of a smuggling ring who was going to sell people to slavers. So when she left with him, she was then captured by this group. Well, Nick came upon them when they were trying to collar her or something like that. I don't remember the exact scene. And rescued her and brought her back to Diamond City. And of course, was hailed as a hero. The funny thing on that story there is if you ask Nick about what he had to do to make that happen, Nick says at that point, since we're still pretty rare and people didn't know much about them, so he said he just like made a few noises and looked scary and they ran off. Made it kind of easy.
Nice. And does that have anything to, because the DC mayor hates synths and wants them out of.
He's a different guy.
Right, the current mayor. Yep.
Oh, okay. The Diamond City mayor at that point. Okay.
Right.
All right.
Yeah, before it was before the noodle incident, right? Where the synth went crazy and killed everybody?
I believe it was after the Broken Mask incident. He talks about how a Broken Mask had happened at that point. And if that was like 87 years in the past, I don't remember the exact dates, but he says it was after that, but not long after. So because there was a lot of distrust at first, but the only reason he was let in was because the mayor said that he was okay. And he was just doing the jobs no one else would do. He was doing maintenance and handyman work. But over time, he became known as Nick the Detective because people remembered how he had gotten there and he was good at such things.
Attaboy, Nick. All right. Thank you so much for your submission there, Lee. Looking forward to your next batch. Let's check in with Swearl.
Hey, everyone. Swear I'm normally here again. So unfortunately, I did not have a very good start. I started where I left off, standing in front of Acadia after finishing the Walk in the Park quest. I know I mentioned this like 2 weeks ago or last feedback episode, but I had accidentally forgotten Valentine in the Commonwealth, so instead of heading inside to talk to Dima right away, I trekked back down the path, took the boat to the mainland, and then started making my way to Diamond City to grab Nick. Except on my way there, I died and reloaded to a save before finishing Walk in the Park because, of course, it slipped my mind to save at any point after finishing that quest. So I reloaded, and then because my brain was so tuned in to doing it a certain way, like, I have to get, like, I had the Walk in the Park quest done, so that's what I gotta do first. I tried to do that again, and then died to the wolves on the way up the road, so I reloaded again, and then I'm like, well, this makes more sense to just go to the Commonwealth now and save myself some time and then head to Acadia, which is what I did. I made it there and back again safely, making sure to save along the way. I made my way inside, interrogated Dima about Kasumi. Nuke was not falling for any of the synth's tricks. He was not a synth, thank you very much, and he would very much like Dima to quit the yapping and tell him where Kasumi is, because while the trail went cold for finding his own son, maybe he could find the Nakano's daughter. And find her he did, down in the very bottom level. Talking to her, she said she's a synth. I said no, she's probably not, and that she should go home. She said that she feels like she belongs here and wants to stay, and we both kind of unspokenly agreed to drop the subject when she brought her suspicions of Dima to light. Kasumi mentions multiple ways of getting information, and at first I thought hacking Faraday's terminal would be the easiest way to do it, because, well, I don't have a high hacking skill. I don't have any hacking skill, actually. I had Nick along with me, and so I was just going to throw him at the terminal. Except as I was walking away, I heard Kasumi muttering something about Cog having the key to the storage room that I needed to get into to listen to the leader's conversation. So I climbed the stairs to the next level, talked to Cog, and I convinced him that Kasumi needed the key to get into the storage room. He said that she could absolutely use it, no problem, except for the fact that there was a problem because he had lost it while moving stuff around the observatory for Faraday. Sigh. So because of course he did. So I went up there, I found the key, and does no one look on the tables? Because he's like, oh, I lost it. So I was expecting it to be behind a box on the floor or something. No, you just go all the way around the observatory level, or the catwalk level in the Dima's main room. You just go all the way to the end and it's on the table in plain sight. So I mean, whatever. Okay. Apparently nobody cleans anywhere. I used the key to unlock that door. I listened on that conversation, talked to Kasumi, and then took off back to the Far Harbor town to clear some of the Harbormen quests, because they're my assigned faction, so I might as well get some points in with them, right? So I got the first stage of Hull Breach done, and when Machete Mike came up to me and tried to convince me to shirk on my duty to the Mariner and sell him the tools instead, I shot him like a civilized person, because how dare you think that I would sell him the tools instead of giving them to the Mariner? Also because I kind of wanted the ridiculous amount of caps he had on him, and I was streaming on Twitch at the time, and Suliore enabled me. Details. Anyway, I also got the first 2 parts of Blood Tide out of the way, where Cassie Dalton wants you to clear the National Park campground and the Dalton farm. I haven't done the final part at the lighthouse yet, but I cannot say that I am looking forward to it. I always have so much trouble just doing that one. I also fixed the fog condensers on the path to the water supply for Captain Avery, and I got sent over to the other side of the map to partake in the captain's dance, which I did not once, but twice, and I completed it in those 2 times, so I'm very proud of myself for that. So I headed back to Far Harbor after that, and they threw a little party for me. I've now got the quest for the National Park Visitor Center and Echo Lake Lumberyard sitting in my quest log. But I think that's all I've got. See everyone in the wasteland.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Swearl. Nice. You remember to save, right? Don't go up and down hills. Leave your robot friend in the mainland. Wow. You had trouble collecting yourself to get up that hillside.
I like her no-nonsense approach with, the character play, dealing with Dima, coming in, dealing with her opinion about Kasumi. No, Kasumi's probably not a synth, okay? We're not all synths. Not everybody you see is a synth, Dima, your agenda. And same about herself, which I really appreciated since I had kind of the same attitude. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Your propaganda is not swaying me. Let's move on. So I definitely appreciated that.
Very cool. All right. Looking forward to your further adventures, Swearl. Keep them coming. All right, let's see. Who do we have up next? I'm on the wrong page here. We've got Blaze. Blaze, we haven't heard from in a week or 2, right? So let's check and see what Blaze has been up to.
Hello, Fallout feed. So I am still behind. I've only gotten the first set of quests done, and this is actually a bit of a long one, but I'm slowly catching up. Here we go. This is the Journeys of Frank Slaughter into Far Harbor, Part 1. While traveling in the northern part of the Commonwealth around his main settlement of Coastal Cottage, Frank stumbled across the residence of a couple arguing loud enough to be heard, even as he approached the home. By this point, Frank had grown accustomed to how raiders, super mutants, ghouls, and other dangerous entities sounded, so he is unworried as he knocked on the door. He quickly found out the couple's daughter, Kasumi, had gone missing recently. When Frank offered to help, since he was still searching for his own son, they agreed to hire him to bring their daughter back. After poking around the home for a while, Frank put together the clues left behind to discover that Kasumi had taken her father's boat to a place called Far Harbor in the north, off the old land of Maine. This revelation also caused Frank to realize his mind was continuing to recover, even beyond what he had been before the bombs fell. Perhaps it was the ambient radiation everywhere, the fact that he was no longer being struck in the head repeatedly during boxing matches, or just because a blow to the head now would mean certain death. He wasn't sure of the reason, but he could feel himself clearing the fog in his mind for the first time in over 200 years. Returning to the Nanakanos, they offered him a self-driving boat to Far Harbor, which was a welcome surprise to Frank, since it was the first working vehicle he had seen since unfreezing. After a long time traveling up the cold, misty coast, Frank reached Far Harbor and was welcomed by a loaded shotgun, which was nothing new to him at this point. Soon after, he was dragged to the town wall as alarms rang out for an impending attack by Captain Olympia Avery, the leader of the harbor. She warned him to stay on the wall, but Frank, being who he was, wasted no time in jumping down to punch and slash at the horde of mutated creatures swarming the gates. After emerging victorious, but not unharmed, Frank explored the town, gathering clues to Kasumi's whereabouts and offering to help where he could. He soon discovered that she had left for a place called Arcadia, and was directed to an old man only known as Longfellow to guide him. It wasn't long before Frank and Longfellow had begun to push into the interior of the island. The short distance complicated by radioactive fog, more mutated creatures, and half-mad raiders the locals known as trappers. Slowly working their way through the dangers of the island, Frank and Longfellow reached their destination of Arcadia. Frank had always thought he had been ready for just about anything inside the settlement. He had seen a few synths around the Commonwealth already, even hearing of one that was a detective. Despite this, he lost his voice for a few seconds when he entered Arcadia and came face to face with Dima, the leader of this synth refuge. Even though Frank had been all over the wasteland and seen plenty of outlandish things, including zombies, mutated creatures of all kinds, and the worst kinds of human, the man in front of him was full of tubes, hoses, and wires just bursting out of him like an angry child's jigsaw puzzle. It forced him to take pause for several long seconds. Luckily, Dima didn't seem to notice or mind his surprise as he welcomed Frank warmly into Arcadia and explained the purpose of the refuge. Although Frank normally wasn't one to judge by appearances, Dima gave him the willies. The pointed questions of if Frank himself was a synth didn't help. Of course he wasn't a synth. He was around long before synths, after all. His feelings toward the old synth weren't really improved when Dima told Frank that Kasumi had been working downstairs and he was free to go talk to her. Maybe that's how it used to be, before the bombs, but nowadays no one ever just told you what you wanted to know. You either needed to convince them to answer anything, pay, or do some kind of favor for them. There was always a catch. To say Frank was suspicious would be an understatement, but he descended anyway while prepping himself to have to fight his way out. Much to his surprise, he found Kasumi working on some machine, seemingly not under any duress. After speaking to her, Frank found the catch. She had found some data buried on one of Dima's databanks about nuclear explosions and death counts for the island, and wouldn't leave until she found the truth. She also apparently thought she was a synth and that she would be tricking her parents if she went back to them. Frank really didn't see the problem, even if she was a synth. It sounded like she loved her parents and they loved her, which is all anyone needed in his opinion. Plus, he had met a lot more horrible people than synths in his travels. Of course, he had a new problem now. Kasumi wouldn't even think about coming back with him to her parents without finding out about what Dima was planning, and she offered several options to Frank of how to find out. This was trouble for Frank, since his hands were not great at fine motor controls after breaking them several times in boxing matches in the past, so picking the lock wouldn't be easy. His face and personality were also a victim of his past matches, so talking Dima into revealing his plans was equally unlikely. The last option of hacking the terminal had just an even worse chance of success, since looking at the jumble of words and symbols just made Frank's head spin. Long story short, Frank was stuck. Far Harbor, Part 2. With little to lead him into getting the results Kasumi wanted, Frank began to wander back and forth between Far Harbor and Arcadia, helping out the synths where he could to perhaps earn some goodwill with Dima and the people of the harbor, since they seemed they needed the help most. He traveled the northern coast of the island, scouring the few remaining buildings for supplies and tasks for the island residents. After a day or so, he found the tools the mariner had sent him out for in a ghoul-infested tannery. Upon leaving the tannery, he was approached by a man that went by Machete Mike, looking to pay for the tools. Now, Frank wasn't one to judge us by names either, but the tools were already spoken for, and to be honest, he really didn't need the caps. He had been selling all the ammo he found since he really didn't need it. Realizing he wasn't getting anywhere in his goal, even with all the help he was giving, Frank returned to Arcadia and began to scour the observatory as unsuspiciously as he could. After an hour or so of searching, he had found Cog, who had mentioned he had lost the key to the storage room after Frank dropped Kasumi's name. Another half-hour searching turned up the key and finally led him into the back room to eavesdrop on the conversation between Dima, Faraday, and Chase, where Frank learned that the children of Adam were holed up in an old sub that Dima had left his old memory banks in. Personally, Frank thought this was a rather dumb thing to leave behind, but he was quickly roped into going and retrieving the memories by Kasumi. This was definitely more than he expected when he had signed up to search for a young lady. So that's about as far as I've gotten in the quest line so far. I've been busy playing No Man's Sky, and also the Fallout 76 new season has started, so I've also been kind of busy with that, unfortunately. Nice. But I will going to go back hard into Fallout 4 this weekend, so hopefully I will be able to catch up with this week's quest that was supposed to be done, and then jump into next feedback's quest as well. So that's about it for me. I hope you all have fun, and I will see you next time.
Awesome.
Bye.
Thanks so much, Blaze. We're getting on his adventures there in Acadia. And as Lee's pointing out and making fun of everyone, Acadia, not Arcadia, right, Lee? Come on, Lee.
But I think Arcadia is cute. I like that one too. Either way.
Yeah.
I gotta say, we didn't get as much into Swirly's feedback there because I know we're prepping for our game coming up and stuff like that. But the conversation sparked off in chat about whether or not Kasumi was a synth and what it means and how you know was just really, really interesting.
Evidently, there's a database.
So, well, yeah, we know about that. So there's an institute database that shows synths in the Commonwealth, but it may not be comprehensive. You know what I mean?
Well, I didn't know that because I usually just walk in with a gun and kill everyone and don't look at stuff.
Okay, Ray. Yeah, no, that makes sense. And it's also mentioned that if you storm, Swearm Normal mentioned that if you storm the, Acadia and Kasumi dies, she doesn't have a synth component, which is true, which I think, could be evidence that she's not a synth, but some synths, like Glory, for instance, don't drop a synth component.
Spoiler alert.
Others who don't. You can even ask like Boxer at the railroad and some people at the Institute if she is a synth, and they'll never give you a straight answer. So I think the game goes out of its way not to tell you.
Well, that means she's not a synth. If she doesn't have a synth component, she's a human. Come on.
It's buried deep in there.
Yeah, there really are other synths that are labeled as synths that don't have a synth component.
Then they're humans. They're lying to you.
Oh, you think so? You think Glory's not a synth after all?
Glory's a human. Come on.
How about like Roger Warwick? He's on the list and he doesn't have a synth component usually.
He's just a drunk or something.
It could be.
He got off the booze. He's a better guy now.
I like your test. Do you want to tell people what your new test for if someone's a synth or not is?
What, the licking?
Yeah, the licking thing.
Yeah,
that's pretty clever.
They taste like plastic. It's just like, how there's super tasters out there. It's just like you can taste it on them. You think you can have to split their head open to see if they're just give me their arm. I'll give them a lick. If there's a little plasticky aftertaste, then you're a synth. That's how it works.
There's a special tang.
Thank goodness she's of age.
Gross.
Oh boy.
It's the new Wasteland greeting, everybody licking each other.
licking arms. All right. Thank you, Blaze. Looking forward to hearing your continued adventures, and we'll step into Katherine here.
Hi, Fallout Feed. This is Katherine. I actually did most of the quest feedback in my last feedback 2 weeks ago. So I'm probably not going to really touch on the quests, but it works in my favor because I've been working a lot of overtime And I actually tried out a new game last week, and then just trying to get some more experiences in before, got to put the old ball and chain on for season 13 of the chore board. So I was working on that in the little time I had to game in the evenings. But basically what I have been doing in Fallout 4 was I just explored some of the side quests and little locations. Like I said, I've done the main quest of Far Harbor before, but I really don't remember any of the little side locations or anything. So I'll just mention that some of the things I did was I went to the Eagles Cove Tannery to get the tools for the Mariner. I remember that being hard. I do remember doing that before, but I remember it being kind of difficult. And it wasn't bad this time around. Like, that explosive 10mm pistol is just incredible. I just can't say enough good things about that. And the Demolition Expert perk, I just tear through everything that I come across. So it's good so far. I've done the MS Azalea. I did have a little bit of a hard time with that. I died quite a few times. There are so many trappers there that I just had to keep either throwing grenades or trying to figure out how I could kind of take them out one at a time rather than having them all rush on me, which is what was happening. Where else have I gone? I've gone to Dalton Farm. I went to the Oceanarium. I did Beaver Creek Lanes, which is a cute little story. Where else did I go? Oh, I talked about the Cliff's Edge Hotel 2 weeks ago. The National Parks Visitor Center I cleared out. The Aldersea Day Spa I cleared out. And I think that's all I got to in the little time I had to play. So my plan is for tonight, since I have some time to game, I'm going to start with the Children of Adam. I couldn't think of the word. The Children of Adam and their quest line, and then maybe do some of their side quests, since that's the faction that I'm allying to. And I also wanted to touch on, last week I played Subnautica for the first time, and I don't know if anyone else in the group has played Subnautica or is familiar with it, but that is a great game. I'm also a little terrified of that game, so I haven't finished it. I put a good chunk of time that I had to play into it, but I can't get very far in it because it's really triggering my fear of the ocean. But I spent some time playing that, and that was kind of fun, and then Season 13 happened, and that has taken up a good majority of my time because I haven't been playing 76 at all for like 3 or however long Squircation was. So instead of going into Squirtirement or anything like that, I brought everything back out for another season. The rewards looked pretty good. I liked the little Easter egg in the scoreboard from Fallout 4, the Hubris comics. If anyone if anyone listened to the chapters on the scoreboard, one of the little advertisements is from the Fallout 4 Hubris comics, talking about the TV show, how they replaced Miss Rivers, or they replaced somebody, I forget the names, but they replaced the original radio talk show lady for another actress. So that was kind of cute to see them incorporate that into this season. But other than that, the update's good. I don't play on PC, so I didn't get to play the PTS, so this is my first experience with some of the enemies, but as of right now, there's so many players that it really feels like you can't experience the events very well right now because just too many people are showing up to them. And I know that's not a bad thing, but I do like when it kind of dies off a little bit so that you actually can do the event in a nice time where you can see everything, you can actually get some kills in, and then the agua doesn't go down in like 20 seconds. But so far, everything's fun. Working on the Vinny Costa daily quests. I've only done the first 2, so I'm trying to catch up on those. But like I said, hopefully I'm going to get back into Fallout 4 starting tonight. I'm done with Subnautica for a while. Like I said, it just kind of terrified me a little bit. It freaked me out. I got into sort of like end game territories, and I kind of gave up on it a little bit. But also the Ocean Gate, if anyone's caught up on the submarine that went down to the Titanic, that was also it was hitting a little close to Subnautica. So I put it down for a little bit because, yeah, that's scary. But anyway, I think that's all I have to talk about. Hopefully I can get caught up a little bit with Fallout 4 tonight or tomorrow during the long weekend, and I will see you all in the wasteland. Thanks.
Oh
Bye.
my God, so much stuff in there, Katherine. Wow, thank you for your feedback. The Ocean's Gate stuff, of course, that's been on the tip of everyone's tongue in pop culture and stuff. We were kind of chatting about it on the side in our thing, and we were all noticing that there seems to be some weird it's okay to poke fun at the situation because they were rich people or something, and it was just like some sort of like class warfare, and everyone's like, oh, why would they get into that ship, or why would they go down in there? But that always reminds me of, has anyone, Jeff, have you been to the Smithsonian? You ever been to
No, I have not.
The Smithsonian has the first lunar module that landed on the moon. That thing was made of plywood and duct tape, basically. You know, and if you see what that thing looks like, you know that like people can get into these sorts of vehicles to go to places that, you know, people probably shouldn't be going to. But it takes those types of adventurous people in order to progress our technology and our experiences and everything. And I don't know. I just thought it was weird that people were kind of like making fun of the people who died. It's like, this is kind of a tragedy, you guys. Why are people
on the internet just find things to make fun of?
Why are you making fun of this? But then that made me ask Ray. I was like, hey, Ray, have there been, you know, there's nuclear submarines. Have there been like, you know, Hiroshima or, you know, a Chernobyl or Fukushima type nuclear disaster on a submarine in the ocean? And Ray was just kind of bouncing stuff back to me. But what would happen, Ray? You're just saying that the ocean's so cold that it would cool any reactions. So plus it's so deep, right? So the pressure wouldn't allow radiation to rise and spread.
Yeah,
or
it
something?
would just there's so much pressure down there that it just wouldn't go anywhere. Some bubbles would come to the surface.
Yeah.
But no, it's, you know, because even the you know, the test firing that they did, you know, early on in the bomb program, those were done in incredibly shallow water.
Mm-hmm.
And they were still tempered quite a bit.
All due to the temperature, because on shallow water the pressure's not.
Well, that was particularly warm water too that they did it in, but the
Bikini Atoll, right?
It was shallow. The water just absorbs so much energy, so much more than the air does.
Yeah, I see. All right, let's see.
Back to the feedback. She sounds like she's kind of at the same place as me in the game. You know what I mean? Doing the kind of exactly the same side quests and stuff on Far Harbor and that location. As far as Subnautica itself, our friend Sherry was super into Subnautica for a while. Fox did. A number of my other friends played. I played a little bit. I am in the same boat. I've got the thalassophobia, the submechanophobia. Things under the water that you can't see or can only partly see freak me out so much, which is kind of hard when you grow up near the ocean, but it is a thing. You know, you get used to it, or lakes or whatever. But yeah, so I don't love being on water, and I especially don't like being underwater, which has been a thing. In Fallout in particular, doing you mentioned Here There Be Monsters, and, you know, the sub-quest. With the Yangtze, like that, definitely the first couple times I played the game, I skipped it. You know, after you get comfortable enough in a game, you get more comfortable with that kind of thing. Yeah. But yeah, Subnautica is definitely rough like that, but a cool game. And good to hear about your opinion on the new quests and stuff in game. And I agree that new events are always the most fun when they settle down a bit and you get a normal number of people there. You know, it can be great having 20-some people show up for mutated events. That's awesome. But but when things end so fast, that's just, it's not as good. It's it's hard to find a mix, like the bosses on the current new events, the new cryptids we were talking about, they can die a little bit too fast when you've got a lot of people there. Okay, and people are complaining, oh, they're not as tough as they should be. Now, like I mentioned, they took me and a couple friends out, but we weren't really prepared. I ran a stim packs,
There's 24 people here. Yeah.
Yeah, but Bethesda's doing a balance. So, like, if every boss is the Titan, even for a small event, like it's just, just a pop-up fun event, people could never do it solo or with just 2 or 3 people. So they need to make it in such a way that it can possibly scale a little bit and maybe get tougher with more people as far as like the number of ads and stuff.
Is that possible on an open server like that? Like it reads how many people are in the event area and therefore works on like a scale?
Depends on the spawn. So we know silos work that way, for instance. Silos spawn more robots, the more people there are entering the silo.
Right.
And a couple of other events work that way. I'm not sure as far as an external public event, but because there is designated a public event area and the rules change somewhat when you're in them, I think it at least affects ads, if not the strength of the creature.
Huh. Interesting. Very cool. Yeah, she mentioned Subnautica. Blaze mentioned No Man's Sky. And I just wanted to, put a message out there to everyone who's doing feedback. After, a bunch of seasons of this, Jess and Ray and I all know the pattern of this. Like, people get super excited in the beginning of the season and lots of people send in feedback and all that. But that does start to dwindle about, like, halfway through the season, like we're getting close to. So I just wanted to say that it's okay for you guys to play other games. Don't feel like that this is a chore. This is supposed to be something fun for you to do. So, but we do appreciate everyone who continues on and submits feedback all season long. I'm the type of person who will play one game for 3 years straight. I know not everyone plays games like that. Lots of people like to play lots of different things. So don't treat this like a chore. People seem kind of like, oh, I needed a break. That's fine. Go take your break, play another game.
This isn't a requirement?
It's not a requirement. You're not getting paid or anything. So, well.
All right, I'll see you guys later.
Later. Jeff, signing off. Sign off, Jeff. All right. What's Blaze doing to No Man's Sky? He's probably doing that in Expedition then. Cool.
Yeah, it should be.
We got one more. Hey, Jeff, you're here, buddy.
Who?
Let's take a listen to Jeff, and we'll see what Jeff thinks about Jeff's feedback.
Hey, Fallout feed. Jeff from Cleveland here today. I'm going to be brief because, if need be, I can go into a little bit more depth. Seeing that there's a guy on the podcast tonight that sounds just like me, so he could probably. Oh my God,
he is a synth. I'm gonna lick your arm, Jeff.
Catch you up on Norman. Norman is now a level 50. My build is completely done except for I didn't fully load up medic because I don't really use a lot of stim packs and I don't use red away at all. So, but besides that, armorer, awareness, red resistance, lone wanderer, gunslinger, and fortune finder are all fully leveled up. Mainland game's easy. Going through the mainland, but Far Harbor is kicking my ass. I did the last couple of quests I completed. I did Here There Be Monsters, so it sent me to Saugus, the Ironworks, so I get 2 birds stoned at once. And I finished the Finch Farm quest while I was there. I needed to pick up some dampening rods for Zao, so I went down there, took care of that. I snuck around. Actually, it was pretty easy to get through that. Like I said, mainland battles are pretty easy for me right now. But went up to Finch Farm, turned in that quest, went back down to Zao, gave him the dampening rods, and went through, cleared out the submarine. And my dumbass was sneaking around, so I was just sneaking around, taking everyone out. And then didn't realize I took everyone out. I'm coming around the corner and I'm like, oh, there's one more. Take him out. Quest failed. I accidentally shot Zao in the back of his head. Luckily, I did save right beforehand, so I was able to reload and actually finish the quest. But from there, I finished Silver Shroud quest, saved Kent. I talked to whoever the guy was. I talked him into saying Or I'm like, wouldn't it be more fun if you Kent got to watch you kill his protege? And at that point, I just took everyone out real quickly, so that was nice. And then at that point, took a trip over to Far Harbor, and that's when my death started. I died a bunch over in Far Harbor. I have been streaming pretty much all my time in Far Harbor, so a lot of these deaths are documented. I finished the blood tide for Cassie, and up at the Brookheads Lighthouse, I died about 4 or 5 times before I had to go super stealthy and take one out at a time and backtrack, take one out at a time, backtrack. But I finally got through that. So then I turned in that quest with Cassie and made my way up to Acadia. I brought Nick, so the conversation with Dima was very interesting. I am siding with Acadia, so basically I just agreed with what he was saying. I said I do sometimes feel like I am a synth, kind of buttering that up. So when I go to join, he's kind of on my side. I went down and talked to Kasumi, and she told me all that she found out about the place. I went back up and talked to Dima, and I agreed to all of the stuff that he was saying. Nick called him out after he told us that he did not plan on blowing everything up. Nick just called him out and said, "You think we're just going to take your word for this?" But after a few speech checks, I ended up convincing Dima to let me join him. I used the speech check where it says, if this involves the whole island, you need my help, and I could be your problem solver if you let me in. At that point, he says I can't refuse any help, so he wants me to help him out. There's a battle going on between the Harbormen and the Children of Adam, and he's just trying to smooth things out over them, but there's a problem. His buddy used to run the Children of Adam. We all know this story. Martin is out, Tectus is in, and the nucleus is run by the Children of Adam, and it has Dima's memories. We all know that story, but since I am siding with Acadia, he wants me to infiltrate the Children of Adam and get in there and somehow retrieve his memories. And that's as far as I've gotten so far. I hope you guys are having as much fun as I am, because this season is a blast. Survival is definitely a lot of fun, and I honestly don't know if I'm going to be able to go back to the old way. Nice. Obviously, I'm playing heavily modded, so that helps a lot, but, aren't we all? And thank you again for having me on the podcast tonight. I already know I'm going to have a blast. I really appreciate you guys inviting me on. I will see you guys in a couple seconds in the wasteland.
And before too. Hey man, well, thanks for coming on the show. It's a blast to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Was there anything you wanted to expand upon on your feedback there?
Not really. I just, like I said before, that this is the second time I've played through it, but I don't really remember much of it, which is nice because it's almost like the first time again. So
yeah,
I may know the story and it might come back to me as I'm hearing it, but right now I'm experiencing it almost for the first time again, so it's kind of fun.
I get that,
and especially with the heightened difficulty,
the urgency of survival mode,
making me crawl through. And I've noticed between the survival aspect and like the streaming aspect, I'm taking things a lot slower. And I'm not one that usually reads terminals and stuff like that, but I'm finding myself reading terminals, looking through a lot of things a lot slower now. So it's definitely a different way to play the game.
I've definitely noticed when streaming that I'm way more likely to listen to holotapes, read terminals, and stuff like that. And then, do you think that it's the streaming aspect of your gameplay that makes it, or the survival aspect? Because I attribute it to streaming more. Yeah.
The slow, taking things a lot slower, moving through, you walk into say it's the grocery store you walk into, and you're walking through it a lot slower because you're in survival. You're not rushing through it.
Right. Yeah.
And at that point, then you're seeing, oh, there's a terminal here. And then, if you're streaming, it's like, all right, well, I can read all this. I can read it out loud, try to entertain some stuff,
Mhm.
It is just, obviously with streaming, it's that's pure easy, chatter.
Absolutely.
Especially when you're streaming with nobody there. At least that's something that you can, when you're first starting out, like me. When I started streaming, I wasn't talking at all. It's boring. And reading the terminals, doing that started getting me more into that. So
Yeah.
Right. It provides commentary and such. Yeah.
it's all because, and it's also, I'm learning more of the lore behind it. So it's all of it's, piling up into positives. So it's nice.
Nice. Well, when Ray streams, he doesn't even talk at all. So
I did pop into that stream and I'm like, all right, it's just quiet.
Not to us. The pups were probably getting an earful,
Yeah, his animals were like,
Yeah.
will he stop talking?
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, you talk about streaming and terminals and dialogues with that. I actually find the opposite.
Really?
My tendency is to very much take my time with almost everything. And when I'm streaming, I rush a little bit because I'm cognizant of the fact that it might not be entertaining, to see someone going through every dialogue option and reading the terminal too long and stuff like that. But it's a difference of how you're doing it, especially if I'm on cam or something. I'm more interacting with chat and I don't want them to feel ignored. So because of that, I try to be a little bit more active, but I do still like to take my time. Some people go too extreme and are all about the action, and that'll never be me. I'm about the lore and the journey. But
Well, that's something I'm terrible about, is paying attention to the chat while I'm streaming. And Jess, you're basically a professional at that thing now. You interacting with the chat as it's all scrolling by, and I'm like, well, I haven't looked at the chat in about a half an hour. Let me check in with those
it's okay.
folks.
We're there for each other, Ray or Clint or I, just or Suliore, just kind of like chatting in the chat while you're doing your thing.
Yeah, it's definitely a learning thing there. It's just like balancing. It's like, all right, I got to pay attention over here. I got to pay attention over here. It's definitely a new learning thing.
It does add a difficulty level. Speaking of difficulty level, I've heard lots of people say it this season. You're like, I don't know if I can go back to the old way now that I've played survival mode. And it's like, I've definitely heard at least a few of you guys doing feedback say, this is awesome. It really fucking is hard at first, but once you hit the certain plateau, survival's really fun as long as you get a few mods in there to sort of get rid of the annoying parts.
Mods in there that aren't too overpowered. Some of them would be a little cheaty, but don't overpower it too much, and it's still a challenge. But yeah, this is the way to play the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really good. All right, let's. That was Jeff for our last feedback of the night. So I do have a very, very quick Scream list. We do have a couple people in the chat who would like to win a prize. So if you would like to win a prize, please join our Discord and join us after 10 p.m. on Friday nights, U.S. Eastern Standard Time, to maybe participate in one of our games. This is a very quick Scream list that I'm calling a disease-ridden Scream list. So, and this was pitched to me by Jeff. So, if he wins, maybe he's cheating.
But he's not playing for himself this time, right? He's playing for somebody else, I think.
Jeff was nice enough to win me a shirt a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, Jeff has already won a prize, so he will be playing for someone else. So we've got, we'll play for Swearl, Archon, and Mr. Sullivan are going to play. So, Ray, you lost for Archon before, right?
Yes.
So you can lose for Archon again. And Jess, you want to play for Swearl?
Sounds good.
And Jeff will have you play for Mr. Sullivan here.
All right.
So a disease-ridden Scream list here. Jeff said, hey, you know what? We should play the diseases that pop up in Fallout 4 survival mode.
Oh, in Fallout 4. Oh, holy.
There are not a ton of diseases here. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 diseases only in Fallout 4 survival.
Had all of them already too.
The last man.
Oh yeah, we have.
Last man or woe man standing gets a lucky T-shirt in the mail. So we're playing for, again, Swear I'm Normal. I call her Swearl, guys, but, it's Swear I'm Normal. Archon and Mr. Sullivan there. So we'll go ahead and guest first. Jeff, could you tell me a disease that you can acquire in Fallout 4 survival mode?
The one I get most often is fatigue.
Fatigue, the first one on the list. Good job, Jeff. Ray, what you got?
The one I didn't get this time, mole rat disease.
Oh my God, that was the one I was sure you guys would all forget. Ray got it off right off the bat there. All right, Jess, do you have a disease?
I'm going to go with insomnia.
Insomnia is a disease that you can get.
It's so bizarre that insomnia and fatigue are diseases, but they are.
Uh-oh, I was doing J for Jeff and J for Jess. That's not going to work. Okay, back to you, Jeff.
Oh, man. We're already out almost.
Well, there's not too many to choose from.
Yeah, I know there isn't. Oh, I'm out already.
Jeff's out already. All right, Ray.
Yeah. See, I wasn't cheating.
No cheating there. He's just doing that so he doesn't look bad, you guys.
I got them all. They're all written on the back of my hand.
he has a crib sheet. Ray?
Parasites.
Parasites is a disease you can get in Fallout 4 survival mode. Jess, do you have another one?
I'm really not thinking of one. I've been relatively disease-free for the last several weeks.
I'm vaccinated.
It's a new record. This character has been disease-free for 3 weeks. I want to say like rattle hands or cordyceps or
You're thinking,
I'm thinking of all these 76 diseases.
Yeah, you're stuck in 76.
Wait. I think there is a gastric distress one. What do they call that one? Oh my gosh, it's not like explosive diarrhea.
The poops.
But, yeah, the runs, Andrew. I'm going for the runs.
We call that brown apple splatters.
Gross. That is so gross.
Okay, do you have a serious answer?
That was my serious answer, Andrew. Damn it. Okay.
What was it?
I think a little bit longer. Oh, is there one that makes you
One that makes you shit?
Oh, I was going to say shaky. Oh my goodness gracious.
Oh boy.
I'm straining here.
There are a billion toilets all over the
And Chad is
Commonwealth.
amused at my disease-free record. Look, I'm sorry, but
She's gone to the
gotta
clinic.
be proud
you
of
guys.
little things.
Yeah.
What have I taken antibiotics for recently? That's the question.
Mole rat disease.
We had mole rat disease. We had parasites, insomnia.
We said fatigue already. We said insomnia. We said mole rat disease, and we said parasites. Those are the ones.
Yeah, there's something like parasites, maybe like lice.
If only.
Oh, wait, swamp itch. Okay, apparently wrong for your reaction.
That's also 76.
That's it. That's all I got.
That's it. That's all you got. Okay.
Yeah,
well,
I'm so
Ray,
sorry, Swearl.
Ray, can you redeem yourself and win Archon a T-shirt? Can you name one more?
Well, since I've been using a lot of Mysterious Serum, I am prone to infection.
Infection. Ray for the win. Congratulations, Archon. You will be receiving a Bethesda Store Fallout T-shirt. Good job, Ray.
Right.
Ray, for bonus points, can you clear the board?
Oh,
You got two
Archon
more.
dropped one in chat. He actually got one himself too to help with the win.
You got two more there, Ray. Without looking at Archon's suggestion, can you clear the board? Circle gets the square.
There's a bunch of really weird sleeping ones.
Is there another sleeping one?
Yeah, what have I had? Lethargy.
Lethargy is on the list, Ray. Good job. Last one. Can you
nice.
get the last one?
Wait, let me look at chat.
Yeah, it's the one chat saying the arch input. Yep.
Weakness.
Oh, I'm not giving you that.
So none of these diseases are diseases. You guys, let's just analyze this list right now.
Morat disease is a disease.
Morat disease is the closest, and I'm not even sure that's a disease. That's more like,
yeah,
morats. I hate them. Fatigue, insomnia, parasites, weakness, lethargy. Hello. Apparently, I have been diseased in the last 3 weeks because I'm tired. Like, what the hell?
I don't feel like doing shit.
Yeah, I get this. I get the sleeping ones all the time because I forget to sleep.
Oh,
That's a problem when
2
we're
hours
tired.
away from being up 24 hours. So
oh no, Jeff's got fatigue. All right,
drink that Nuka-Cola. Feel that caffeine buzz in your veins.
Fatigue
the cherry Nuka-Cola right here.
Fatigue is sleep deprivation accumulates twice as fast, must sleep twice as often. Infection is you take periodic damage. Insomnia is sleep is 50% less effective. Lethargy is AP regenerates 50% slower. Mole rat disease is negative 10 hit points off your total. Parasites is all food cures only 50% of hunger. Food is half as effective. And weakness is incoming damage is plus 20%. Good job, you guys. Congratulations.
Go real deep with it. I'll go real deep with it, and there are 8 items that prevent them before they happen.
Oh God, those the herbal remedies or whatever. Yeah, there's all sorts of that stuff, and I pick them up, but I don't know what any of them do.
I carry 2 on me at a time, and I never use them.
Yeah, I always remember right when the little thing pops up and says you got this.
It's like, oh shit, I should have taken that thing.
Yeah, because it only
you have
prevents
to take
it.
Yeah, you have to take it before.
It doesn't cure it.
And you've got stages of starvation too. Like, I mean, these are very exciting lists that a good player will never see. May I add, in all of our defense, the better you play, the less you see these. Just saying.
That's true.
Wait a minute.
I see him a lot.
Yeah,
we're bad players.
The big downside to using Mysterious Serum is that you're prone to disease.
That's why I don't touch the rataways. I always just go to a doctor.
Yeah. Hit that rat arch in your settlement or hit a doctor. Exactly.
Never even thought of that.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to a little bit of news. I think Jess listened to a podcast.
So, yeah, we're going pretty darn long tonight. So I just put in a couple of iguana bits from the Todd interview. I'll just go through this real quick so we don't actually have, too much of a discussion unless someone wants to jump in. But for those who didn't know, Todd made another appearance on a podcast talking about Starfield and other things with the Kind of Funny Xcast this week. It's one of the Kind of Funny podcasts dedicated to the Xbox. So, of course, I listen regularly. So first, a trivia bit on here that I thought was really cool that I thought maybe Andrew would like, and other people who are Ted Lasso fans. So apparently the character the character Coach Beard from Ted Lasso, Coach Beard is played by Brendan Hunt, which people know Brendan Hunt. He's an actor. But what I didn't know is that Brendan Hunt is also the voice of Travis. I never put 2 and 2 together. So Travis, the DJ in Fallout 4, is played by the same guy who does Coach Beard on Ted Lasso. Thought that would be pretty funny. Actual Starfield news real quick. Let me just go down the bullet points. We learned that there are confirmed no land vehicles, which we were suspected after not seeing them. But yeah, there are no land vehicles. The jetpack will kind of act like a vehicle as far as being able to, it's called a boost pack. You can boost pack around, get up things, inclines and all that. And the fact that gravity varies and there are a lot of low grav planets can make that actually very fun. So yeah, it's designed like all previous Bethesda games to be navigated on foot. And as anyone knows who's actually gotten a horse in Oblivion or what have you, you kind of feel like you go faster on foot anyway.
Those will be included in the DLC later.
It's possible. It's possible that obviously people will mod stuff in. But yeah, do you watch Ted Lasso, Andrew? Did you know that tidbit?
I have not actually seen Ted Lasso, but everyone claims it's awesome. So I should.
Yeah, a lot of my games have, and I was thinking they had recommended it to you. So
I have not yet taken it in.
Yeah, the one thing I've not been able to really suss out is if you're going to be able to fly an atmosphere in your spaceship.
It sounds like you're not.
Yeah,
is
it
what
does,
I've gotten.
'cause,
So you're going to have
it
to
looks
land
you
and
can
take off. Yeah.
go into space, or you can be in space and land on a planet.
Yeah,
But
I don't know if
that's
you could fly along the surface.
right, because that's one of my primary methods of searching a planet in No Man's Sky is to
low fly,
to fly just above the surface, and you cover a lot of ground.
So how about the opposite? Can I get my boost pack to get me into orbit?
No, unless you're hit by a giant, in which case maybe.
There'll be a mod for that.
Kaboom! Yeah, that'll happen. You know it will.
There may be point-to-point fast travel, but yeah, the maps. I mean, the areas that are generated, the procedural areas that are generated when you land, are he said a kilometer or two. So they're smaller than a regular, say, a full Skyrim map or Fallout 3 map, but as you move, it can get larger. But it's going to generate the procedural area around you when you land in your landing site, and of course. Jumping down, actually, let me jump down on the list. So people keep talking about procedural and handcrafted, and he was just, again, reiterated story locations, many main locations are fixed locations on these planets. Okay, they're not all procedural. A lot of fixed locations, but the area around them are procedural in some areas. And then, of course, parts of the planet that you're not actually in for the story. And then there are some planets that are fully procedural. The items, the locations that are kind of handcrafted are placed when you land on these. So, your Radiant Quest type areas, they do become fixed locations on planets when you land. And that's based on the planet type, the biome, and the quest. Planets kind of multi-biome. So some planets or moons or rocks are kind of all the same. They're all cold, rocky, low atmosphere, low gravity, what have you. Some are going to be multi-biomes like the Earth. And they could have, life sustaining bands, tropical rainforests, arid mountains and plains. There will be all kinds of planets just like real life. So I thought that was really kind of cool. The number I'm sure everybody has seen is that about 10% of them are probably populated. As far as with life
planets.
on them. Yeah, at least, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot.
So I have an idea, thought about like the low gravity and jumping around these planets.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking whatever it is, the mutation in 76, where you're jumping around. I forgot what it's called.
Marsupial.
Yeah, I wonder if that was like an early test to test out like non-gravity.
I'm sure it was,
planets,
and
stuff like that.
Also, Fallout custom worlds, using custom worlds with variable settings on all these different variations. I'm sure they're like, oh man, people are having a lot of fun with that.
They're using us to test out all the features for their new game, and
we're guinea pigs for the space program,
and we're paying for it.
And gladly. But yeah, I mean that and the fact that these have always been, a lot of them have been adjustable variables, for a long time in Bethesda games. But yeah, I love the fact that that's going to vary so much. The atmosphere, the lighting, all of that, how it's going to affect things.
Like bullets will affect, gravity will affect bullets and stuff.
Oh, I didn't think about that. That'd be awesome.
That would be.
If it wasn't effective.
You shoot a ballistic and it just won't go if there's no gravity.
We haven't seen any evidence of that, but it's a cool idea.
They do say that if you use a ballistic weapon in low gravity, that you'll be pushed backwards.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
I did hear something like that in some other podcast, but yeah, it's crazy the different things they're doing with that.
So one fun question that came up was about how previous Bethesda games tend to have, a lot of creatures, but some have become incredibly iconic, like dragons, like death claws, stuff like that. And so Todd was asked, are there any especially iconic creatures we're going to see in this game? And of course, Todd said, "Ooh, well, there are some, and there's one really bad in particular, but you'll have to play.
You'll have to play to find out."
So that was a lovely tease, though, that he was like one big bad in particular. Love that. Ship updating, customizing. We got a cool new info on that. So one thing that was neat was that we learned that we could actually capture and claim ships. That if we kind of go over, kill the crew, we can steal ships, we can pirate ships if we want to play that way, or just claim ships that attacked us that we were defending ourselves.
Build a fleet, right? Yeah.
Right, build a whole fleet, and that can actually be sent back to your base. And when you're at different star bases, you'll be able to swap your ship. I don't know if the star base is the correct term. We're still learning. Outpost, whatever you want to call it. But you'll be able to swap the ship you're using. However, if you want to, we know there's a whole ship customization and building system. If you want to customize any of those ships at a shipyard that you've claimed, they need to be cleared and registered. So just like in real life, if you go and you jack somebody's car, you're not going to be able to,
BMV simulator.
Exactly. So it needs to be cleaned. You need to get rid of any evidence. You need to go through whatever process you need to do to get it registered.
Scratch
so you'll
off
have to
the,
do that with your ships too. So you're not going to be customizing 100 ships.
You have to scratch off the VIN before you can go into a certain area.
Salvage title for this one.
It's kind of, it's a sunk cost. I think it's something to keep people from, being able to accumulate that much where you actually have to put effort into it, spend some of your space money, your space caps, whatever it's going to be.
So it's going to be like a workshop in 76 where I'm just tinkering away on my bench and then someone comes up and kills me and takes my ship and runs away, right? It's going to be like the competitive zone where they, got your ship. Good luck on that planet. You're stuck forever.
They stick in the fusion core and ride off into the sunset.
Oh, God.
Or it constantly updates. Your outpost is being attacked.
Oh gosh!
What if Preston Garvey's there in a spacesuit?
So, quick note on companions. We know that there are multiple companions, and as we've learned more about Constellation, it turns out that the Constellation crew really is your main crew for a lot of it. Obviously, there's the recruitment system. You can bring in a lot of other NPCs for long times or short times and staff your outposts and such. But the main Constellation companions, the main romances in the game, there are 4 of them, and they're all from the Constellation companion crew. So those are your 4 major romances. I assume there will be other, side options, but not full romance quest lines.
Yeah, and it will be nice because you're going to be able to have people that you recruit as crew, and people that you can, have in your settlements, but none of them have to be your companions.
Yeah. That's awesome, right?
Yep.
They can just stay on the ship. They don't need to come in. If you're into exploration, they don't need to come with you. That's perfect. There was a question about contraband. So what if you have stolen items and you're trying to land at a major city or an actual staffed location? What if you have stolen items on your ship, drugs and stuff like that? What will happen? And once again, Todd said, you'll have to see what happens if you try to show up at United Colony space with stuff you shouldn't have. You smuggler, you.
Some bad shit. That's what that means.
That's his famous quote for this one. You'll have to see.
Yep. My favorite nerdy quote from this one. Was my favorite nerdy line was people asking about, okay, when you fly there's a lot of times lore to the propulsion systems. How are you actually traveling these distance with faster than light, in order to get between? Because as we know, we were talking about Alpha Centauri is a good 4.1 or whatever light years away. Okay, so that's over 4 years to get there from Earth. And then some of these other systems are much further. If you're traveling between them at a reasonable time without cryo sleep, etc., it has to be fast and light travel. So he says, well, we call it grav drive, but it's short for graviton loop field array. So they are working with a kind of space folding gravitational system, like you'd assume, like with Mass Effect or something. But it's the graviton loop field array. So memorize that one.
Graviton field loop display. Got it.
Yes, perfect. Traits and perks, Andrew. Exactly. So one thing that he is really happy with and says he can't wait for people to see more of, which we got some of from the video, but just the advances in Creation Engine 2 with a volumetric fog and lighting and all the underlying tech. I mean, there's been so many tech advances. He talked at length about, everything the crew has done, but just the layers of volumetric fog and lighting, which, even going to Far Harbor's reminder of what it was like in the old system and how pretty it can be when you do it right. The fact that is going to affect so many things. The planet you're on, how large the sun is, what color the sun is, how the atmosphere interacts, like all of that is going to affect every planet you on being a little bit different. Planets with low atmosphere might be crisp. Foggy planets will be entirely different. The light will be filtered through, some fogs that might add luminescence to things. It just seems really cool.
Nice.
And then to wrap up, the final thing he said, final thing I wrote down was just, he feels it's the best feeling game we've had at launch. Like, he didn't use the fun quote that Aaron did about this will have the least bugs of any Bethesda game, because, Todd's learned. But he says, to me, it's the best feeling game we've had. It is at 30 FPS, but he really wanted that consistency of a locked frame rate, and it just feels really good to play in combat and running around. So those are my notes. Anyone else have any Starfield stuff?
He has to say that.
Well, I got one thing. I'm sure it's coming, but I haven't heard any confirmation about console mods and if it's coming, like when, how far after launch or what. Has anybody heard anything about that?
Yes, he has said specifically that it will be a Modder's Paradise. Now, did he address whether it'll be Modder's Paradise on console? No, but history at this point, with both Skyrim and Fallout 4 having them,
A couple months after launch, they'll probably start rolling
it has
out.
previously mentioned that there will be mods across systems, so we just don't know the extent of it or, space and that sort of
Get a
thing.
little taste of mods, and it's hard to play Bethesda games vanilla.
Yeah. We don't know about, Creation Club or the rumored marketplace and how that's going to implement it either. I mean, there are definitely still some questions out there, but.
And we'll have a 1 gig space to save mods.
That'll be one mod.
Yeah, one mod. That's it. Choose your
And
mod
that'll be
wisely.
the unofficial patch.
The super official patch. All right, more Iguana Bits there?
Yeah, well, for those who tried to jump into 76, the day of the update on Tuesday, there was an atomic shop outage.
Oh, no.
Yeah, there was an atomic shop outage. Guess how long it lasted? Only like 2-3 hours.
Oh, okay.
But in other news, completely unrelated, we still have a fast travel bug that hasn't been patched for 3 years.
They're concerned about it, obviously.
I mean, that shop is important. You got to keep it running. No, I tease. It's a very important system of the game, but it amused me that was fixed so quickly, which as it should be. New events, locations. I talked about those during gameplay, so we don't need to get back into that again. And one last Iguana bit for our other friends playing ESO. At the same time as the new update launched on Tuesday, the Necrom update for Elder Scrolls Online, Necrom, did launch over on ESO. And for those who don't know, it is It's a Morrowind related mod.
Whoa.
Basically, it's bringing you back to Morrowind because Morrowind was one of the first large DLCs they released. So you're going back to it. It deals with Hermaeus Mora. Sounds really cool from what I've heard of people playing it, that they seem to really like it.
Enjoy your taproot, everybody.
Good reference. But yeah, that is all I got. Oh, I guess the last thing I'll mention is if you do ever check out fallout.bethesda.net and go to the official Inside the Vault stuff, Carl McKevitt, they did a little spotlight on him. He's a senior quest designer at Bethesda. He's been a quest designer the whole length of Fallout 76. Done a lot of quests, Wild Appalachia, right up through Mothman Equinox. I got to do a panel with him once, playing some games, stuff like that. Really cool guy. But he's now a senior quest designer, and he's kind of talking about, his philosophy when it comes to design and everything they're doing. So if you're interested, the article is on Bethesda.
Sweet. Check it out, everybody. All right. Looks like that is our Iguana Bits. For shouts this week, we thanked all of our Patreon folks, so thanks again to all you folks out there. And it's been such a long show, it feels like a week ago. Did we mention Meowface's GoFundMe earlier on?
No, we didn't mention it tonight at all. I don't know if we ever really got into what happened with her and the accident. But yeah, Meowface, our friend Lacey, who's been on the show several times, has set up a GoFundMe to deal with some continuing medical and repair costs after the accident.
Yeah. So please, if you know Lacey personally or a Facebook friend, go help her out if you can. And if you'd like to just help a community member in need, I have posted the GoFundMe link right at the top of your podcatcher here. If you just roll down to the description of this episode, that you'll find the link will be the first thing there. So please help out our good friend Meowface in her time of need. Thanks, everybody. All right, does anybody have anything else you'd like to get into tonight? I think we covered fucking everything on the under the sun, under the moon, under everything in the constellation. Yeah. All right. In that case, you can find him. Are you at StillFalling97 on the Twitters there?
Yeah, I'm StillFalling97 at Twitter, at Twitch, at YouTube. YouTube's still kind of light, but nothing there. And then I'm on Xbox, is just Still Falling.
Hey, and if you want to see a cool video of the theme song of this podcast with Jeff playing drums to it, that's also on his YouTube page. Go check that out. That was really cool. He showed that to me earlier today. Really fun. Hey, Jeff, at StillFalling97. Thanks so much for hopping on tonight, man.
Thank you very much. It's been a blast.
You can find her at You Wastelanders for all your building needs, at Dames Who Game for all of your female gaming needs, and at Sleep Is for Tea for all of your other needs of any kind. Thank you, Jess.
Thank you. And just
You're
think,
shaking your
only
head
8
at
more
me.
weeks to scorecation.
Only 8 more weeks? Really?
I mean, maybe sooner for some of you.
They're playing.
Get cracking.
They're playing for me now. You can find Ray over there at Ray LB, and also for all your No Man's Sky needs, go to at BBCISSS, which stands for the Butcher, Baker, and Candlemaker in Space. Ray, thanks so much.
Good times.
The show can be found at the Fallout feed. I am at Indie Android, and I would like to thank everyone for downloading this edition of the Fallout feed, and we will see you in the Wasteland.
Thank you for downloading this episode of the Fallout Feed Roundtable. If you are interested in doing a play-along character with us, the show can be contacted by emailing falloutroundtable@gmail.com. For the Roundtable schedule, our Amazon link, and all other show information, please head on over to asapodcasting.com, where you will find the Fallout feed, a Skyrimatic podcast, our YouTube channel, the Chatterbox, as well as other content. Once again, thank you for downloading, and we'll see you in the Wasteland.
And this was my favorite nerdy line. I've been relatively disease-free for the last several weeks.
Sadly, I know the feeling.
I did Beaver, gotta put the old ball and chain on.
It was before the noodle incident, right?
This is actually a bit of a long one.
Because my brain was so tuned in to doing it.
Yay, no more smelly power armor. Be more lucky than good.
Quickly nopes out of that situation. She was killed by a dead cow corpse.
What was going on with my brain?
You know, I love playing with Killow's head. I touched my first starfish.
If need be, I can go into a little bit more depth.
I'll try to be a bit more thorough this time.
With the beaver like popping back up, like it makes it last longer.
He found the tools.
You know, making a lot of grunting noises and everything. All of a sudden, I see blood spraying everywhere.
And we saw 2 blood trails.
In a row?